living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Hey, I'm FTFE, welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what having a mostly American audience does to my sleep schedule. Welcome back to another Monday night debate. We've got a good one tonight. I am just going to be moderating, trying anyway. You've watched me, you know how this normally goes. But we have someone on the channel who's not been with us before. You may have seen him on Modern Day Debate a fair few times. His name is TJump, and he will be debating BumpyEarth420. So let's let TJump have a couple of minutes to introduce himself. TJump, welcome to the channel. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I'm TJump. I run a YouTube channel called youtube.com/TJump, where I debate professors and philosophers on usually reasons to believe in a god and the occasional flat earther. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. You're more than welcome. The link to TJump you will find in the description, so please go and drop him a sub. He is an amazing debater. I'd say a more patient and probably better debater than I like the dumpster fires. So thank you for joining me, TJump. And debating him is our old friend BumpyEarth420. Bumpy, how you doing?
Yo, what's up? It's Hip Hop Hippie, a.k.a. Mad Mardigan, killing trolls. So TJump, go hide under your bridge. And just want to say hi to my beautiful, lovely wife, fiance, / sexy mama, Dandelion. She might be in the chat. Don't know. Not sure. But let's get this truth train going, baby.
Wow, it's almost like you've got a script for that down. So, order of business for tonight. Both guys are going to have 10 minutes to present their case as to what they think the shape of the Earth is. We've agreed that TJump's going to go first. So, I hope you guys enjoy the show tonight. Like I said, please go and subscribe to TJump. His link is in the description. So, let's just hand it over. 10 minutes. See what you can do.
Thanks, Bumpy, for showing up. Appreciate it. So my argument goes like this. I think that we can demonstrate the world is definitely round in multiple ways, but some of the easiest ways are the ones that anyone can do from their backyard. And those are the ones I want to go with because I want to show that flat earthers should be able to do these experiments too. And one of the most fun is radar. Radar is a thing, and it works. Governments use it to identify planes, their shape, size, speed, missiles, boats, submarines, all kinds of things. Radar works. It's very simple. You point a radio at something, you bounce a radio wave off it, it bounces back, and you can calculate the distance by how long it takes for the radio to hit the object and bounce back. And you can also calculate things like speed, direction, size, shape, all those different things. Very nice. And we can build these in our backyard. They're called ham radios. And you can then, after you build it, bounce a signal off the moon and have it bounce back or bounce to the nearest radio signal or communicate to the other side of the planet. And we can know how far the moon away, how far away it is from us by just calculating the time it takes for the signal once we send it to bounce off the moon and come back. And it takes about 5 seconds. It's two seconds there, 2 seconds back, something like that. And so we can, knowing how fast radio waves work, that's about 250,000 miles the moon is away. And conveniently, it's always about 250,000 miles away. It doesn't get closer, it doesn't get farther away. It's always about that range with a 10% difference or so. But if the world was flat, then that's a problem. Because if the moon is always 250,000 miles away when it comes up in the night and when it goes down in the night, that means it's like kind of on a string. So it must be coming up from the surface of the Earth, going directly overhead and then crashing into the other surface of the Earth. Problem is that when someone's standing over on the other side of the Earth, they also measure a distance of 250,000 miles. So it's the same distance away from pretty much everybody, from whoever's measuring the moon at any point of time in the night. Now, this is a problem for flat earthers because, again, if the world was flat, how can it be equidistant away from everybody at the same time? Especially if it's going around in like a little spiral shape above our heads. Like that doesn't quite work. So the flat earth model doesn't quite seem to have an answer for this. I'm curious to see what Bumpy's position on this is. Secondly, since we know how far away the moon is, we can also show the eclipse is showing the shape of the Earth and how big the Earth is and how far away it is, and showing that it's definitely round and spherical. since we know how far away it is, it must necessarily be exactly this size and this shape and exactly this far away from whatever light source is causing the shadow. So we can measure essentially the entire size of the solar system just by going off of this one thing, that we can measure the distance of the moon. And you can do this from your backyard. So anybody can do this. Anybody can buy a ham radio to do this themselves. This is not some NASA conspiracy. Anybody can do this. So with that, those two facts, and the fact that we've literally been to space on the ISS, and you can find pictures of the astronauts literally taking camera shots of the Earth, and it's definitely round. Those three things definitely would be my three things that prove for certain that the world is in fact round. And I'd love to hear Bumpy's position on, if radar works, can we bounce radar off the moon, and can we calculate distance? Because if he agrees with those three things, then that kind of demonstrates that the world is round.
So your 3 points are bouncing radar off of the moon, calculating the distance to the moon, and the fact we've been to space.
Well, the lunar eclipses, but yeah.
Radar, so radar, lunar eclipse, and space. Okay, thank you very much, TJump, for that. Bumpy, over to you. 10 minutes, or however long you need. Your 3 points about why you think the Earth is the shape that you think it is.
All right. Thank you, TJump. Thank you. So, I don't claim a shape. I don't know what shape the Earth is. I've never seen the Earth, like, fully with my own eyes, so can't tell you a shape, but I can tell you it's not a globe, because there ain't no curvature. Water exists. The existence of water debunks the globe, because you can't put water on a spinning ball without it flying off. So, kind of screws the globe there. And then there's no Earth-based Coriolis. Proves that we're stationary. And that goes against the globe model. But yeah, no curvature, definitely. Where's the curvature? I would like for TJump to answer that one. But yeah, those are my 3 points. No curvature, the existence of water, and no Earth-based Coriolis.
Okay, all right. So just to confirm, your 3 main points are that there's no curve that you think of, that water exists, and that you say there is no Earth-based Coriolis.
Yep.
Okay. You guys obviously didn't need 10 minutes to get your points out, so why don't we just go ahead and let you guys have a conversation. I will only jump in if I feel like it's getting out of hand, or if points are being dodged and questions aren't being answered. The one thing that I do ask of both of you is that you try not to talk over each other, and if there is a direct question answered, please try and answer that question directly rather than going on to another point. But apart from that, it's an open discussion between the two of you, so away you go.
Bumpy, have you heard of radar?
Yes.
Does radar work?
Sure.
Can we bounce radar off the moon?
I don't know.
Okay, that's a fair point. So there's many videos of YouTube on doing this, and they do it with equipment that you could build in your backyard. Would you be willing to build one and try it yourself?
Why would I do that?
To answer the question so that you can know. And you no longer don't know.
But it's not my claim. You're the one who says that we can, so why don't you do it?
Well, I have.
Oh, have you?
Yep.
Where's your evidence?
Where's my evidence? Like, that I've done it? You want me to record it on YouTube for you and then upload it? I can do that.
Yeah, you should do that, because that's your claim.
Well, there's
right?
Lots of people who have done this, so yeah, you can see them do it. Not a problem. Doesn't make a difference. So again, the point here is that you could do this. This is why I'm telling you. You don't have to take my word for it. You could literally do it. So if radar can bounce off the moon, would it tell us how far away the moon is?
Possibly, yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Sure. So just hypothetically, if we measure how far the moon is, and it's 250,000 miles, anytime we measure it during the night, how could you do that if the world is flat? Because that seems to be like if this moon just comes up at night and it's 250,000 miles away and it's just over the horizon, for anybody on Earth who's measuring this, anybody who sees the moon at any point in time, they're always going to measure it at 250,000 miles for some very strange reason. But it's somehow over the horizon. How is that possible?
How is it possible that the moon is up over the horizon?
No, how is it the same distance away for anyone on Earth and wherever it is during the night sky?
Well, I'm still waiting for the evidence proving this.
Well, like I said, you can demonstrate this yourself. I'm just saying hypothetically. Imagine we've done this. Imagine you yourself have done this experiment, and this is the conclusion you came to. Would that convince you that this is a problem that you'd have to solve?
No, not necessarily, because I don't think it would tell the shape of the Earth. It would just tell the distance of the moon, right?
Sure. So we can tell the distance of the moon is 250,000 miles at every point during the night, no matter who's measuring it. What would that tell you about the Earth?
Well, it wouldn't tell me anything about the Earth. It would tell me something about the moon. It would tell me that the moon is, 250,000 miles away.
Sure. So let's imagine that here's the Earth, and here's the moon. So if the moon is 250,000 miles away here, like imagine if you're the power button, the moon is 250,000 miles. That means it can't be 250,000 miles here, because now it's the length is longer, right? Now it has to be farther away. So if here it's 250,000 miles, here it would have to be longer. So if it's 250,000 miles in every direction, that means it has to be going like in this shape, doesn't it? Big curve. It has to be equidistant at every point.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Maybe. I don't know. I'm waiting for you to prove it first. I mean, we could talk about hypotheticals all day, but I mean, that doesn't get us anywhere, right?
No, it does. So again, the proving thing, you're not going to believe.
We have to assume that the Earth was a sphere.
Nope, I didn't say anything about that. So all I've said is that we measure. You can build a ham radio in your backyard. Anybody can do this. Lots of people have done this. It's already been proven. But I don't want to present their evidence, because that wouldn't convince you. I'm saying you yourself could do this. So you yourself can check everything I'm saying here just to be sure. But I'm just going into the hypotheticals here. So if you measure the distance of the moon, and it's always 250,000 miles away in every direction, that means it has to be tied to a string to you. So it doesn't get further away from you, it doesn't get closer to you, which means if it's on a flat plane, that's a problem, because how could it be the same distance away from you the entire time, no matter where you're measuring it in the night sky? Well, it has to be curving. And if it's curving down and the world is flat, that means it's going to crash into the planet at some point, right? Because if it's 250,000 miles away here, and it's 250,000 miles away here, and it's 250,000 miles away here, that means it must be getting closer and closer to the surface of the Earth, and at some point it's got to crash into it, right?
No.
Why not? So if we always measure the moon as 250,000 miles away, wherever we measure it, and you're standing on the little red dot.
Again, you're saying that this is what happens, but you still have yet to provide evidence for it.
Well, I'm not claiming that's true yet. I'm saying you can confirm this for yourself. So I'm not presenting evidence of other people. They don't matter. All I'm saying is, if this is the case, just hypothetically imagine you've done this experiment yourself and you got this result, that the moon is always 250,000 miles away. What would just those facts tell you? So if the moon is always 250,000 miles away, means it doesn't ever get further away from you, doesn't ever get closer to you. That means it has to go in a curved shape, right? Because that's the only way it could always be the same distance away, right?
I don't know.
Okay. Is there another shape it could go in and still be the same distance away? Because if it's going in a line, right? You see, if the current distance between the disk and the red thing is shorter than it is here, right? So if the moon is going in a line over a space, then the distance has to get further away, right?
Yeah,
so
I think so. Yeah.
So it can't be a line. So the moon can't be going around the Earth like this. So what are the other possibilities other than it being like a big curve around you, like a circle?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm still waiting for you to. I'm just waiting for you to back up your claim with evidence. You say that we can measure all over the Earth, 250,000 miles away. I'm still waiting for that.
Right. I'm not presenting any of the evidence. I don't need to. So I'm just talking about the philosophical possibility here. So just saying, if you measured this, what would that tell you? That's all I'm asking here. So I'm saying that you can measure this yourself. anybody can do this in your backyard. That's the confirmatory evidence. Like I can give you YouTube videos of people doing this. This is not hard. You can just Google bouncing radio signals off the moon. There's the first video that pops up should be a guy bouncing a signal from Australia to El Salvador. So this is not a hard thing to do, and anybody can do this in their backyard. Just buy a ham radio.
But how does a radio signal bounce off the moon?
So remember when I asked you understand what radar is, right?
Yeah.
And radio
how does,
signals are radar.
Okay, so it hits something and then comes back. Is that
Yes.
what you're saying?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, how would it do that?
I'm not sure what you mean here. So
Well, you're
electromagnetic
saying
waves.
it bounces off something and then comes back. How does it do
Yes.
that?
How
does that happen?
How do electromagnetic waves hit an object and then bounce back? So
Yeah.
electromagnetic radiation. That's like I'm not sure. Like, do you want an exact description of how radios work?
I just want to know, like, so so you shoot it out, okay, out of
Yep.
what? Where do you shoot a signal out of?
Satellite usually is just an emitter.
A satellite on the Earth?
Yes, in your backyard.
Okay, so you aim it up at the Earth, or you aim it up at the moon,
Yes.
and you shoot something. So what's coming out of the satellite?
Radio waves.
Okay, so the radio wave hits the moon, right?
Yep.
And then it comes back.
Yep.
So are you saying that the moon is physical?
Yes. Well, maybe not. It's something, whatever it is, it causes the radio waves to come back, and radio
So you
waves.
would the moon have to be physical for that to happen?
Well, I don't know of anything non-physical that radio waves can bounce off of, so I would think it's physical.
Well, can you prove that the moon is physical?
Well, I can prove that radio waves bounce off it. So,
Well, how do you know radio waves bounce off of the moon?
because we point the satellite at the moon, and it sends a signal, and then the signal comes back, so it has to be bouncing off something.
Well, aren't you
And-
pointing it up at the sky? Like
Yes,
in the
but if we
you're
point it
pointing it
like
up at
to,
the moon, but the moon is in the sky. So what if it's hitting something before the moon?
yeah, that's a great point. So, but if we point it a little bit to the left of the moon, it doesn't bounce off anything. And if we point it a little bit to the right of the moon, it doesn't bounce off anything. And if we point it anywhere else in the sky, it doesn't bounce off anything.
So do you have evidence for that?
But yeah, again, you could just build this and just point it anywhere other than the moon.
Why don't you? I mean, it's your claim.
I
I mean,
have.
you're telling me. Well, can you prove that?
I don't need to. Like the whole point is this is something that you could do. You
So
can do
you
this
don't-
yourself. I don't want you to like trust my word here. I'm not going to present anything that I want
I don't
you to trust.
your word. I don't.
I
Trust
know,
your
I know.
word. You're saying
You
that
would-
you can, but yet
I don't want you to.
have
I don't
any
want you to
evidence
trust
of
me.
you doing it.
I want you to be able to do this yourself, so you don't have to trust anything I'm saying. So that's why I'm presenting
Why-
this, is because
that's
this is something that
You're
can do.
trying to reverse the burden of proof. Like, I don't have to prove anything. You're the one that has to prove it.
Right,
It's your
right.
claim.
So that's the point here. I'm not trying to present something that you wouldn't trust. So I want to give you something that you yourself can do. Because no matter what evidence I present to you, you're not going to trust me because you don't trust us, and that's perfectly fine. But I don't want you to trust us. I want to give you something that you yourself could do and that you would believe if you did it. So just hypothetically imagine this is the case. So you point a radio signal at the sky. You don't get a signal anywhere else except when you point it directly at the moon. Is that pretty good evidence it's bouncing off the moon? And it only works when you're pointing it wherever the moon is in the sky, right? So then it's probably hitting the moon.
Okay, well, if I did do this and it did happen, I'd be like, okay, that possibly hit the moon. But again, I'm waiting for you to present your evidence of you doing this. Because you're saying it's possible.
Yes.
And you said that I could do it, but
Yes.
you haven't done it.
I have
or at
done it.
least
I don't
you
have
said
any
you've done
recorded videos of me. Would
Well,
you like
that
to see a
sucks.
video?
It's not my problem. It's not my problem, bro.
Like, would you like
Sure.
to see a video of someone doing this? Like, we can get Flight Earth to like Google it and show you a video of someone doing this. Would that matter to
That
you?
would just, no, I don't think that. I don't understand how that would prove anything about the Earth being a sphere. I
All right,
really
so
don't.
that's we're just saying that we can bounce radio signals off of the moon. That's it. That's the only
Okay.
claim we're making here. We
Well,
can
that's-
demonstrate that, right?
Okay.
And if
Well,
we
you
bounce
say
radio
you can
signals off the
demonstrate
moon,
that.
Yeah, would you like a YouTube video of that? Like, we can provide one.
I don't care. It's your claim, dude. Like, you gotta provide the evidence. I mean, I'm sure the audience wants to see this, right?
I doubt it, but they might. But the point here is just I want to talk about what you think here. So if this is something that you could do in your backyard, would this convince you? What would this tell you? Like, so let's say you did this in your backyard, and you got this result. What would you think? So you said, yeah, maybe this is bouncing off of the moon. I mean, would you agree that the moon is 250,000 miles away because it takes 5 seconds to bounce the signal back there and back?
I don't know. I'd say it would be evidence for the moon being 250,000 miles away, but science doesn't prove anything. So
Yeah, you're right, completely. So that's all we can do is just provide evidence.
yeah. So why would I be like, oh, yep, the moon's 250,000 miles away if it hasn't been proven?
Well, so if it has evidence, and that's the hypothesis that has the most evidence, isn't that what you should believe?
Well, I mean, you could believe it, but I don't go off beliefs. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a belief. Why would I believe it?
What else is there?
I don't know. Could be something else. How do you know?
No. I mean,
How do
you
you
said
know how do you know the radio waves aren't hitting off something else?
they could be. So they're hitting off something that's closer to Earth than the moon.
So you're admitting that it could be something else.
Yes, I said that. I agreed with you.
Well,
But
well, then how is that
you said
proof?
it's not proof. Remember, so you're right. Science doesn't prove anything. That's just a rhetoric. But you said you don't go off beliefs, and I'm asking you, what else is there other than beliefs?
What else is there other than beliefs?
Yeah.
Truth. I mean, if something's right, it's right. You know, if something's truth, it's truth.
And if you believe something is true, is that a belief?
Yeah, if you believe that it's true.
Okay. So if there's any idea in your head that you think something is true, is that a belief?
I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
Okay. Is that going to take a while?
I'm pretty sure, like, if you believe something, then it's just a belief. You know, like say I look at my hand. I can see my hand. I know I have a hand. I don't believe I have a hand. I know I have a hand.
Okay, so
right?
In philosophy, knowledge is defined as a justified true belief. So you have a belief, I have a hand, and it's justified based off of some evidence, like you see it. And
so is it a
true.
belief that I have a hand, though?
Yes.
If I know I have a hand, is that a belief that I have a hand?
Yes. In philosophy, yes.
So you believe that you have a hand. You don't necessarily know that you have a hand.
But belief is a part of knowledge. To have knowledge, it has to be a belief, and it has to be a true belief. So like I have false beliefs, like I could believe the world is flat, and that would be a false belief. But if I believe the world is round, that would be a true belief. But they're both beliefs. And one is knowledge, one is not knowledge.
Well, I'm sorry. I don't know. It seems like a bunch of word salad to me.
Well, so you said
know
there's
something or you believe something, like, or you either know something, or you don't know something, or you believe something.
Okay. So from my perspective, for you to know anything, it has to be a belief in your head first. So you have to think it, right? You have to have an idea that the thing is the case. Like you have to have an idea the world is flat. You have to have an idea the world is round. You have to have an idea of anything, right? It has to start as an idea in your head, right?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And we would call that a belief in philosophy. So you have an idea in your head.
Well, actually, I don't know. Because, I mean, if I look out and I see no curvature, why would I believe that it's a globe?
Whatever you believe is still going to be a belief, right?
But if I look out and see no curvature, why would I believe that why would I believe that it's a globe?
Right, you wouldn't. If you don't see curvature, you wouldn't believe it's a globe. You would have to have some other reason, something else that you see that would give you a reason to think it's a globe.
Exactly. You would have to have some other reason. What other reason would there be?
Like if you built a radio in your backyard and you bounced it off the moon and it's always 250,000 miles away.
That's just the distance to the moon. That doesn't prove the shape of the Earth.
Right. So I was trying to get to there. That's why I showed you the TV remote and the camera lens. So if this is the Earth,
and that doesn't necessarily prove the distance to the moon, because you don't know. You've already conceded that it might be something else that the radar is bouncing off of.
Sure. But the point wasn't the exact distance. It was the fact that it's the same distance. So if the thing is the same distance away the entire time, and it's going this way, what's going to happen to it? Even if it's something in front of the moon, let's say it's something in front of the moon that's invisible, and it's the same distance away, and you're measuring it, what's going to happen to it when it gets to here?
What do you mean gets to there? It's not dropping down. It's not falling down. I don't know what you're talking about. When you do that motion, is that what you're saying the moon does?
Yeah. So remember, if we measure the distance to the moon or whatever is in front of the moon, it's the same distance every time. So we have to use exactly one length. So
how could that even work on your globe?
If
it gets closer to the horizon, wouldn't it be closer to the people who are on the other side of the horizon?
A little bit, but not much. So
but it would be different.
Like I said in the intro, there's about a 10% difference, so there's not much. It's very, very small.
10%? How many miles is that on your globe?
Several thousand.
Oh, so
it changes from like
a lot.
44 to 50 something. No, it's very small. It's very, very small. So it's like if here's the distance to the moon, it's about that much. That's about the distance. It's like that. That's the distance. So now it's not much. No.
Okay.
Very little.
So, but you just admitted that it's not equal distance everywhere.
Yes, it's not. It doesn't have the exactly same mile distance at all times, 100% of the year.
But you're contradicting yourself because you said it was exact.
No, I said it was the same in general. So, like, if the distance is this much difference, it's the same. So it doesn't need to be the exact same from my argument.
Well, it
just needs to be this far away at all times. It doesn't need to be the exact same.
But you said it. You said it was the same distance.
Generally, so it's just the same. Like if I say the TV is the same distance every time I sit down, there's a slight difference every time I sit down. It's not always the same distance away, but it's close enough that we would say, yeah, it's the same distance, right?
Well, 1,000 miles, it's not the same distance.
Forget the number here. So the number here doesn't make a difference. If it's really, really close. If it's like
but you're telling me that numbers matter. You're telling me that the numbers matter, so how could it not make a difference?
Well, I said the numbers don't matter here. Remember. So it doesn't matter how far away.
Why are we even talking about it? If the numbers don't matter, then what's the point?
Because if it's the same distance away, no matter what the number is, the point is here is what is
away. You even admitted it's not the same distance away.
Okay, so there's tiny differences. If there's tiny differences, what's happening to the shape? If there's only a tiny, so if the moon is here and then the moon is here, that's a big difference. That's 3 times. So the moon is now 3 times further away from the red dot. That's a big difference. That's not a 10% difference. That's a huge difference. So if there's only a 10% difference, what's happening? So we know there's only a 10% difference. What's happening to the moon? It has to be going like this, doesn't it? It has to be like staying the same distance away from the red dot the entire time.
That's your claim. You're saying that that's how the moon moves.
Yeah. So if we measure the moon, like in your backyard, you build a ham radio, you measure the distance to the moon, it's always within 10% difference. What's happening? That's my question. What can we say about the motion of the moon if it's always going to be 10% away?
So now it's within 10%?
Yes. So it's within 10%. So there's only a 10% difference in the movement. What can we say about the movement of the moon? What kind of shape is it moving in?
I don't know. I don't shoot radars at the moon. I don't do that. So I don't know.
Okay, so again, we're just hypothetically imagine we see this the case, and we say that.
Why are we talking hypotheticals? Why can't we just get to the nitty gritty? Why are we talking hypotheticals? Can't you just show evidence of you shooting radar off the moon, or what?
Bumpy, just work with the hypothetical for the sake of the conversation. It's how we can move on the conversation, okay? So just work with TJump on the hypothetical, please.
Right, and the reason I want to stick with hypotheticals is because this is a literal thing that I've done and that other people have done, but you haven't done it. For you, this is just hypothetical. So this is something that we have seen, and I want to know if you saw the same thing we saw, what would you think? So like, if I saw that there's no curvature, if I look out and see there's no curvature, I wouldn't think the world is flat either. If I saw the same thing you saw, I completely agree. But then I saw something different, and I'm telling you what I saw, and I want to see, would you come to the same conclusion I came to if you saw what I saw?
When I said I don't know, I don't know because I've never done it.
That's perfectly fine. So that's kind of what I want to explore with you. I want to explore with you my thought process of how I came to the conclusion the world is round by seeing this, and I want to see if you would like see if that's a reasonable conclusion to come to if you saw the same data.
Well, I think it's a reasonable conclusion. I really do. I think, I think you can come to that conclusion, but when you look out, you see no curvature. It's kind of odd because there's supposed to be a sphere. So it doesn't really matter about the moon. It matters about what you're standing on, like I don't see the correlation here.
Okay, so I'll go through it the way I see it. So if I measured the moon, and the moon is always 250,000 miles away, that means there's only one option. It has to be the same distance.
It's not always 250,000 miles away.
Always within 10% of 250,000 miles. Okay.
Okay, so that's what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's always within 10% of 250,000 miles. So I can jiggle it a little bit. So there you go, 10% of 250,000 miles, which means it's always going to be about this far away from wherever I measure it, anywhere during the night and anywhere on the Earth. It's always this far away. That means that if it starts at the night over here, it's got to be starting at the ground level and then go up. Because for it to be 250,000 miles away, the same distance, that's like a string, it has to be this far away the entire time, no matter where I'm measuring it. That means it has to start on the surface of the Earth, lift up, go around, crash into the surface of the Earth again, if the world is flat. Now, if the world is round, you asked...
But we know it doesn't do that.
You asked how would this work on a globe Earth? It works like this. Same distance away the entire time. Just goes around like this the entire time. That's how it would work on a globe Earth. It works really, really well. So if the world's flat, that causes a problem, because if the moon is always the same distance away, then it must crash into the flat Earth at some point. Because it's
Why would it crash into the flat Earth? Never. I don't understand. What are you thinking of when you think of flat Earth?
If the moon is the same distance away the whole time, that means like this, the tip never gets farther away. Like, what happens if I move the tip? Well, it's going to go in a big circle, right? It's going to start on one side. It's going to go to another side. Like, if it's always the same distance away, like the length of the pin never changes. That means it starts here.
Yeah, but you said it's not the same distance away, though. That's the whole point. That's the
same
whole
equals.
here.
Okay, so if it changes by 10%, it's going to do the same thing, same conclusion. So I'm not sure why you keep bringing that up. So it's like if I take the tip, let's say we just take the largest distance. The largest number is 2.7 seconds or 255,000 miles. That's the longest, the farthest it is away at all times. Let's just take the longest number and say that it's just as far away as it can be. Or we can take the closest number, the 2.4 seconds, the 240,000, 238,000 miles. We'll take the lowest number. You can take either one you want and say any of those ranges. It's a range from here to here. That means it can't go away from this little cone, and that means it has to go in a curve, right? It has to go around the pin, and that means it's going to start here on the surface, go up, and then crash back into the surface.
So you're assuming that the moon is physical.
Well, it could be non-physical. It's still going to crash into the surface, right? Because it's still the same distance.
How could it crash on the surface if it's non-physical?
Well, so it hits something. The radio waves hit something, right?
I don't know. You're telling me they do.
Hypothetically, the radio waves are hitting something, and that something, whatever it is, has to be within this range the entire time. And that means it's starting here, goes up, and then like hits the Earth, right? Whatever this is measuring has to like hit the Earth, because it's always the same distance away if the world is flat.
Okay, so they're doing this throughout the day?
Who?
Or throughout the night? Because I mean, the moon is up sometimes during the day, right?
Sure. Yeah, we can do it both during the day and during the night.
Okay. Well, how come the moon actually gets closer to us? Like it looks like it's closer some nights.
Optical illusions. Like if the radio waves are more accurate.
So no matter what, it's still going to be the same amount of way, even though it looks like it's closer.
Yes. So even though it looks like it's closer, when we bounce the radio waves off it, it's still going to get the exact same distance of 250,000 miles within 10%.
Well, okay. I'm waiting for your evidence. Still waiting.
Well, that would be
Are
pretty.
we still on the hypothetical? Because
Yeah, I'm good with just hypothetical. So I just want to know, like, as I said before, I'm saying here's the stuff that we saw that convinced us that the world is round, and I want to know if you saw this, would this convince you that the world is round?
no,
Why not?
because science doesn't prove anything, right?
Right, I agree.
So why would, if it's not proving anything, then why would I come to that conclusion?
Well, the way I see it is that I believe the conclusion that has the most evidence, even if it hasn't been proven. So I say we can't prove anything other than I exist. That's the only thing you can prove is that I exist.
Oh,
And-
so you haven't proved the globe?
Right, no, we just have lots of evidence. Lots and lots
So
and lots
the
of
globe
evidence.
hasn't been proven, scientifically proven.
Nothing can be proven scientifically. I agree with
Well,
you.
then
there.
why even debate? Why debate science if you're never going to prove anything?
Because of what I just said, that we believe the thing that has the most evidence. We don't
you
believe the thing
believe.
that's
Yeah,
been proven.
right. Let's not
So you
get
have a
bogged
religious
down.
belief. You have a
Let's not
religious
get bogged
belief.
down in semantics, guys. We all know that science doesn't prove things, but we are here talking about the evidence for one thing or the other. So TJump has presented his evidence in the fact that you can measure the distance to the
Yeah,
moon,
but-
and it will always be roughly the same, meaning that you will always have within this 10% here that you see.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
But
yeah, that's a nice cartoon, but
and
he
if
still
the
hasn't
Earth was
presented any
flat,
evidence.
it would mean that the moon would crash into one side or the other when you measured how far away it is. So that's T-Jump's evidence, okay? So you claim now that there is no curvature. So what would you have to support that?
Actually, I'd be interested in exploring more of what he means by proof, because I think the semantics are actually really important and interesting.
Okay.
Because he said, like, what do you mean by proof? So do you think the world has been proven to be flat?
No, I think the Earth is bumpy.
Oh, okay,
I think there's flat parts of the Earth, but I think so. I mean, if it's flat and has mountains and stuff, it's bumpy, right?
sure. Do you think that has been proven? Has that been proven?
Yeah, it's been proven beyond a reasonable doubt.
Okay, how did you prove that? How did you prove you're not a brain in a vat?
Well, mountains do exist, right?
You mean we experience them?
We see them. We can walk on them. We can stand on them.
So
we can do whatever we
you're
want.
saying if we
Jump
see
off of
something, that's proof. That's what you define as proof, is if we see it.
And we can like touch it and manipulate it.
So the radio waves that we can see and touch and manipulate that can show us the distance to the moon, that's been proven then.
You can see radio waves.
You can see their effects, yeah.
Oh, so you can just see the effects. You can't actually see the radio waves.
Yes, indirect observation is also observation.
Well, how do you know? How do you know a radio wave is actually being shot if you can't
How
see?
how do you know there's actually a mountain there? Like when you say
can
there's
see it.
mountains. Yeah, so
see a
but how do you
mountain.
know you're not having an illusion or a delusion?
Because I can go to a mountain.
And how do you know that that isn't an illusion or a delusion?
What? How do I know that that's not a delusion or an
Yes.
illusion?
Yes.
Because I can go to it. I can stand on it. I can jump off of it if I wanted to.
So if you were in a dream and you did this, how would you know you're not in a dream? Like, right, you go to a mountain in a dream and you wouldn't realize it's not a real mountain. It's just, you think it's real because you're in a dream, but it's just an illusion, right?
Well, it's a dream. We're talking. I mean, that's like another hypothetical, right? I mean,
Yeah, illusion, delusion, dream, they're all different kinds of psychological states that are
I'm
not
pretty
real.
sure mountains aren't illusions. I don't think the
Well,
Earth
how?
is a magician.
Well, that's the thing I'm asking here. So you're saying that you can prove the world is bumpy, and I'm saying the reason science can't prove things is because we can't show we're not in a dream. We can never show anything with 100% certainty. So we never believe things because they've been proven. And if you
So
think,
you can show you're not in a dream because you're awake. You're awake, right? Are you not
Have you-
awake
have
right
you-
now?
So,
Are you
so
awake?
if you were sleeping, how would you know that you were sleeping?
Because you wouldn't be awake. I mean, that's what I'm saying. If you're awake, you know you're not dreaming, right?
Have you heard of begging the question? So
Well, you're the one
no.
saying you're laughing at me, dude. But you're the one saying that mountains are illusions.
So when you're dreaming, you normally don't know that you're dreaming. You normally can't tell that you're not awake. Sometimes you can. It's really cool.
Yeah,
when it
sometimes you
happens.
can. So what's that kind of debunks your own claim right there, right?
No, because there's sometimes that you can't. So if you can be in a dream and you can't tell the difference between the dream and reality, then there's no way to show that what you're experiencing now isn't a dream, which means you can't prove that your mountains are bumpy because you could be in a dream. Like there's no way to know. And so we have to go based off of evidence. We have to say the fact that we experience it is good evidence that the mountains are there and that we're not in a dream.
So what you're saying is there's infinite possibilities, right?
Yes.
That's pretty much what you're going to, right?
Yes, we can't prove anything. That's the reason science
Yeah,
can't prove anything.
There's infinite possibilities. That's insanity. You know that, right?
So we could have been created 5 minutes ago by a leprechaun, or 6 minutes ago, or 7 minutes ago, or 8 minutes ago, and I can just go up infinitely, right?
Well, we know we weren't created just 5 seconds ago, right? You do know that, right?
How do you know that? How do you know you weren't created 5 minutes ago by God?
Because by God?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Hypothetically, imagine there was a God. Imagine the God created you 5 minutes ago with all of your memories of the past. How do you know that didn't happen?
I don't know, man. I don't know. You're talking some weird ass shit right now. But carry on.
Right. That's kind of the point here. Is the reason we can't prove anything with certainty in science is because there's always those massive possibilities that there's a God or aliens manipulating us, or we're in a dream and we can't tell the difference. Brain in a vat hypothesis. We could be in the Matrix. Like you've seen the Matrix, the movie?
Yeah.
So we could be in the Matrix where where it's just all digital and we just don't know it. And so we go
could
over.
be okay. Yeah, I mean, we could play in hypothetical land all we want. I mean,
Right.
but
That's what it means.
Here in reality, mountains exist, right? Mountains do exist, right?
If we're not in the Matrix, they exist. Right.
Do mountains exist?
I think they do. Yes. Can we prove that? No. That's the point. We can't prove it.
No, we can't prove that mountains exist. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's why science can't prove anything. It literally can't prove
Man.
anything because we could be in the Matrix. Right? So if we're in the Matrix, there's no mountains, correct?
We're not in the Matrix, bro.
And how do you prove that?
What is the Matrix? That's your claim.
The Matrix is like we're in a computer simulated world.
Okay, now prove it.
The point here is it's possible. I don't need to prove it. So if it's
How is that
possible, then you
possible?
could be wrong.
Well, what is a computer? What is a computer?
What is a computer? A computer is a way of processing information to generate images and shapes and things.
Okay, is it biological?
There can be biological computers.
There can be biological computers.
Yes.
Like what?
Again, a computer is just a way to process information. So if you make a synapse or a diode of any kind, whether it's electrical or biological, it can process information. So it's not like you could do it with anything. It doesn't need to. It could definitely be biological. But wait.
If you believe,
so I wanted to
if you believe there's infinite possibilities, why would you debate anything?
Because some have more evidence than others, and that's what matters.
So you would debate infinite possibilities because, I mean, if nothing could be true, nothing. That's pretty much what you're saying.
No, there definitely has to be one true.
There's infinite possibilities, so how can anything be true?
So if I roll the dice, there are 6 possibilities, but one of them is going to be true. Right?
But there's infinite other possibilities, so how do you know it's true? You're the one saying, so you're saying that the dice is actually rolling something correctly, right? Or whatever you say.
There's one truth.
But
there's one true reality. Reality is one way.
So mountains aren't true. Mountains aren't true.
I think yes, the mountains are true, but how do you prove truth? That's the question here, is that science can't prove truth.
That's a question that that you
No
have for
one can.
yourself, I know how to prove a mountain is real. You walk
By
over to
touching
it.
it. Well, okay,
Yeah,
so if you're
drive
if
up on
proof
it, cruise
if
around,
proof
maybe jump off if you want. You got a parachute, do a little base jumping. You
so,
know,
so proof is observation. The
I
fact that we
mean,
can
you ever
observe
heard
it.
of Mount Everest? Is Mount Everest not real?
Sure, yes, Mount Everest is real. So
So
proof for
is
you.
Mount Everest a mountain?
Wait. So if you define proof as we can see it and touch it, then science proves everything. Science does prove stuff.
Exactly.
Okay, so then science can prove the moon is far away and that it's physical and that radio waves work. All that's proven then.
But you say it doesn't prove anything.
By my definition of proof. So I'm saying proof as in prove that we're not in a matrix. So I have a higher standard. So if you define proof as just we can see it and interact with it, then yes, science can prove all of this. Science can prove the world is round. Science can prove the moon is 250,000 miles away.
Yeah.
Science can prove that radio waves work.
can
All
prove
that's
that.
proven. Yes.
Yeah,
So-
I'm under the realization that science does prove things. Yes.
Okay,
Cool.
so for the purposes of this conversation, should we agree on a term? I say that the science doesn't prove things, but for the purposes of this conversation, based on the standards that you are saying, shall we both come to the agreement that science does prove things for the purpose of this conversation? Or
Yeah, that's what we just did. We just
Yeah.
agreed on that. That's cool.
Okay, so based on those standards, then does TJump's evidence support his assertion that the Earth is a globe?
Proof. It proves.
Proof, yeah.
the
Does
world
it?
is a
Yeah,
globe.
yeah. If we are going with that standard of what proof is, does TJump's evidence and hypothetical that he's presented give proof that the Earth is a sphere?
No,
Why not?
because you're shooting something up at the moon. It has nothing to do with the Earth. You're just shooting up at the moon.
But it's observable just like the mountains are.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying the moon doesn't exist.
No.
The moon
So
exists.
the radio waves are observable. The effects are observable. So if we can, like, it's a ruler. The radio waves are a ruler. Can we observe a ruler? Can we touch a ruler?
Yeah.
We can. Same thing. So the radio waves are a ruler, and the ruler measure the moon is that far away. So it
Well,
proves it, just like a
I'd
ruler does.
still like you to provide evidence or your proof that
that
the moon is
radar works.
250,000 miles away.
Do you agree that radar works? Like it can measure planes and missiles and stuff?
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming it works, but who knows? Maybe it doesn't. I don't know.
Okay. So if it works to measure planes and missiles and buildings, then it could measure the moon, right? You can bounce it off those things.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. You got to prove it. That's your claim, right?
Sort of, but I don't really want to have to explain the basics of how radio signals work, like especially if we know that they work.
Well, you're saying that you're shooting radio waves off
Yep.
the moon.
Yep.
And I'm asking you to prove it.
Right. So if we can observe it, just like we can observe the mountains, that would be proof, right?
Yeah, I said the moon exists. Mountains exist. So are you conceding that the Earth is bumpy?
Yeah. Yes, the Earth is bumpy. I agree. The Earth is
Okay,
bumpy.
cool. Well, then you agree with me.
Sure, but it's also a globe. It's a bumpy globe.
Well, prove it.
We can do that. So by your standard, we can bounce the radio signals off the moon. We can observe us. We can physically touch the whole system and the radio waves. You can touch the radio waves that make your hand hot if you put your hand in front of them. So we can touch the radio waves, and we can measure the distance of the moon just like we measure the distance to a plane. And there's lots of YouTube videos of people doing this. So they've touched the radio waves.
I can confirm that there is a lot of YouTube videos and videos outside of YouTube and even scientific papers that talk about bouncing radars off the moon. So for the purposes of this conversation, the question of whether it can be done or not isn't really up for debate because there is plenty of evidence to suggest what TJump is saying can be done. So I'd like to move forward on the assumption of what TJump is saying is something that has been proved because it's been done by multiple people.
Where's the evidence?
I've just told you, you can look on YouTube and find the videos yourself. For the purposes of this conversation, I am confirming what TJump has said, that the information is freely available.
So you're saying that somebody shot radio waves at the moon, and that proves that the Earth is a sphere?
Many people, as TJump has said, many people have done it and measured the distance. So on that knowing that that is true because anyone can go and find that information, and with the hypothetical that TJump has suggested, does that give the proof that the moon is a particular distance away at all times?
Nope, I haven't seen the evidence yet.
So it proves it to us, the people we've seen the evidence, so it proves it to us. You haven't seen it, but remember I said that you could build this in your backyard, so you can see it. You could see it yourself. So you haven't seen it, so it's not proven for you because you haven't seen it yet. But we've seen it, so it's proven to us. So the question is if you do it and you see it and it's proven to you, would this convince you the Earth is round? That's
No. I've already told you that. No.
Why not?
Why? Because shooting something up to the moon doesn't prove the shape of the Earth.
Okay, so if the moon is always the same distance away, no matter where it is in the night sky, that means it has to be going in a circle, right?
Well, can you please provide the evidence? I'm sitting here.
No, remember, because you said that you wouldn't believe this even if you did it. So if you did this in your backyard, you literally saw this, you wouldn't believe it. That's the point.
You're saying that this happens, and I'm waiting for you to prove that it happens.
We've already done this. What I'm saying is that you said if you did this, you still wouldn't believe it. So if you personally did this and it was proven to yourself, you still wouldn't believe it. That's the problem here.
Yeah, because I look around and there's no curvature, which is what there needs to be if the Earth is a sphere. You know,
so those two things contradict. So if you see no curvature and say the world's flat or bumpy, and if you see that the moon is the same distance away, those two facts.
I don't see
remember hypothetical. So if you were in your backyard,
hypothetical. Hypothetical.
So these two facts.
Why are we talking about hypotheticals?
Because you said even if you did the evidence, you would still not believe it. That's why. So if you did the evidence and you saw these two things contradict. They can't both be true at the same time because they lead to a contradiction. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, exactly. It leads to a contradiction on your part because there'd be a curve. There need to be curve.
No. So you see the world is flat, bumpy, and you see that the moon goes in a circle, perfect circle, within 10% degrees. Remember,
I don't see
hypothetical. So if you saw these two things, these two facts would contradict one another. They can't both be true. One of them has to be right and one of them has to be wrong.
Okay.
So if the moon goes in a perfect circle, or within 10% goes in a circle, then if the world is flat and if you see it is true, then the moon is going to smash into the Earth, right? Because if both of these things are true at the same time, the moon goes into a close circle within 10% and the world is bumpy, then the moon is going to smash into the Earth, right?
No,
why not?
Because the moon doesn't go towards the Earth, dude. I don't know what you're talking about.
Correct.
Why would it
So
crash into the Earth?
if you measured this,
no sense whatsoever.
So if you measured this, if you literally saw this yourself, you did the radio wave experiment and you saw that the moon is always the same distance away, that means it has to be going closer to the Earth.
But you said it wouldn't be the same distance away.
Within 10%.
How do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
The radio wave. So we're saying that you've done this experiment, you have saw
Where
this.
is the evidence, man? Come on.
I told you I have confirmed that evidence is available. It doesn't need to be presented here right now because anybody can go and find the evidence and look at it themselves. Okay, so you're free to do that in you're free to do that in your own time. But you know that evidence.
Present the evidence.
Bumpy, the evidence is available.
Came on here to talk about hypotheticals?
Bumpy, do not talk over me. I am the moderator. Do not talk over me. Okay, all right. The evidence is available for anybody to go and find. It doesn't need to be presented here in the same way that we don't need to present evidence that 1 + 1 = 2, because anybody can go and find that evidence. It is available. Okay? So that evidence exists, as TJump has said, and based on the hypotheticals that he has suggested, what does that conclusion give you about the shape of the Earth?
I don't know. It doesn't give me anything.
Because like he said, it can either be flat and the moon crashing into the Earth, or it can be a globe with the moon not crashing into the Earth. So those are the two options here.
Why would the moon crash into the Earth? That's what I'm trying to get at.
He
Why?
explained
So if
this.
it's the same distance away the entire time, like if an object is the same distance away, that means it's like on a string. Like if you have a ball on a string and you spin it around your head, the ball will always be
If.
the same distance,
Yes,
right?
if. You're begging the question. You're begging the question.
Right.
Where's you're assuming,
If
you're assuming that
we
it's,
see
you're
that the
assuming
moon,
that it's always the same distance away, even though you
We're
said
not.
it's
We're
within
not assuming
10%.
it is. That's the evidence that he
okay,
has
so
said.
it's a
He hasn't
stretchy
presented
string.
any evidence. He's just talking. He's just
So we
running
have a
his mouth.
stretchy string. We have a stretchy string that can stretch 10%, and you're spinning it around your head. It's always going to be about the same distance away, within 10%. That's what we see with the moon. So if you have a stretchy string
Is
and you
that what
hold
we
it to
see
your
with the
side,
moon?
yes.
Is that what
So
we see with the moon? Prove it.
Yeah. We can do
Prove
that.
it.
But again, my problem here is
Yeah,
when
you
you
can
said,
do that.
wait,
If
wait,
you
wait,
can
wait,
do that,
wait,
do
wait,
that.
wait, wait, wait. So
You
the
can do that,
what
do
I'm
that.
wait,
Bumpy,
Bumpy,
please stop
Bumpy,
talking
Bumpy,
over. All right,
What's
calm
so
down.
hard here?
Bumpy, calm
what
down.
I said,
God damn.
my objection is you said if you yourself did this experiment in your backyard and you saw it, you still wouldn't believe it. So me presenting evidence is kind of a waste of time here because you've kind of proven you wouldn't accept any
Never
evidence here if
presented
you
any
do
evidence. Yeah,
Right, right.
because it doesn't prove. It's not my fault that it doesn't prove the shape of the Earth.
it.
Sorry,
Yeah, that's the part I'm questioning. That's
That's
the
not
part I'm
my
asking you about.
fault. That's
the
your
part I'm asking
fault.
you about. How does that not prove the shape of the Earth? Because remember, if the moon is the same distance away the whole time, like if you take a stretchy
it?
string, yes.
Is it?
So, but it doesn't matter. Remember, Bumpy,
It doesn't matter.
Bumpy.
It doesn't matter.
Remember, you said that even if you did this, you
Yes.
yourself proved this to yourself. So you're granting it's this way for the sake of the argument. Even if you saw this was the case, you still wouldn't believe the world is round. That's the part we're questioning here. So you've already granted, like hypothetically, you've done this experiment yourself in this hypothetical.
Yep.
So if the moon is always the same distance away and you yourself have seen this, and you yourself have seen that the world is flat or bumpy, then these are contradicting because if the moon is, you yourself have seen that the moon is the same distance away the entire time in the night, that's like it being on a string and you whipping it over your head from one side to the other. What's going to happen to the ball?
I don't know, dude.
It's gonna
I-
crash into the.
I'm at a loss for words here.
Right.
Just sorry.
Okay.
Doesn't make any
I think
sense.
it is time to move on from this particular topic. I think Tom has proven his point here, and Bumpy, I will personally give you the evidence later on after this debate. Okay, I will personally give you the videos that back up what TJump was saying here, and maybe
Well,
then
I
you can
mean,
have a think about it later on. Okay.
You should
but
do that for the
how about
audience.
we
I
move
don't
on
care. I
to
already know it's not
another
close.
thing? You know, that was TJump. First part of evidence, and I think he's adequately presented that. So why don't we talk about the thing that you presented first, that you suggested first, and that was there is no curvature. What evidence or anything do you have to back up the fact that there is no curvature?
There's no curvature. I mean, what else do you need? Look outside. There's no curvature. Get on an
So you-
airplane. There's no curvature.
So you don't see it, therefore it doesn't exist.
Not necessarily, but yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you don't see it. It's not there. Where is it?
Okay. You don't see radio waves. Do radio waves exist?
I don't know.
What?
Maybe.
Does radar work?
Maybe. You're saying it works.
Yes.
But you're saying it works. That's not my claim. My claim is, where's the curvature? Where is
Right,
it?
right. So you said
There's no curvature.
your evidence that there's no curvature is the fact that you don't see it. And
But my evidence is that horizons are seen too far to be a sphere edge. It's not a spherical edge. It's not a sphere. I don't. This is fucking crazy.
so if you were really, really, really tiny and you were standing on a gigantic basketball, would it look like there is a curve?
I don't know.
The answer is no. You would know.
How do you know? Are you an ant on a giant basketball?
You have to be a lot smaller than an ant, but
Oh,
it's just
then why would
pretty
you say that?
easy. Because we can only see a certain degree of like change. So our eyes, we can't see perfectly, right? Like you can't see an air molecule, right? You can only see things down to like a grain of sand, essentially. That's as small as you can see, right?
I I'm sure you could see smaller, but
Yeah, just for the sake of argument. So you can see just about to a size of a grain of sand, which means if the curvature was smaller than a grain of sand, you wouldn't see it, right? It'd be too small.
I don't know. How do you know?
Well, if you can't see a grain of sand and the curvature is smaller than a grain of sand,
You're saying we're too small to see curvature? Is that what you're saying?
yes. So just forget the Earth here. Just imagine
wait.
that there's a really, really big ball.
Wait,
and you're standing...
how is that possible? How's that possible? So you're saying we're too small to see curvature?
Yep.
You do realize people say that they see curve at sea level, right?
Sure. So again, we're just talking hypothetically.
So wait. No, wait.
Wait, because you said, how is it possible? You want to know how is it possible?
Is your too big to see curvature, or are you seeing curvature at sea level?
Too small. So different topic.
So
you can in certain circumstances, but the point here is that you asked, how is it possible for us to sit on a curve and not be able to see the curve? You wanted to know how is it possible. So to explain how it's possible, if we're standing on a very, very big, perfectly spherical ball, if the ball is so big that the curvature is smaller than what we can see, there would be curvature and we would not be able to see it, right?
That's your claim. Prove it. You're claiming that, right? Why are you asking me to prove your claim? That's your claim, right?
No, I'm not asking you to prove this. I'm saying if the smallest thing we can see is a grain of sand and the ball is so big that the curvature is smaller than a grain of sand, we would not see it because it's the smallest.
Is that what you're saying? Is that your claim?
No, this is just hypothetical. So this is hypothetically.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. That's what I'm telling you. That's my answer. Is I don't know. You're the one saying that we wouldn't see curvature. Now prove it.
Okay. So if the smallest thing we can see is X and there is a thing smaller than X, would we see it?
Oh, fuck. I don't know. Look, I don't know. You're the one saying if the Earth is too big that we can't see curvature. Prove it.
Okay. I want you to walk through this with me slowly one more time. So the smallest thing the human eye can see is this. There's one thing. There's this one thing that is the smallest thing the human eye can see. Yep. That means that there's nothing smaller. The human eye can't see anything smaller, right?
Okay.
So if the curve was smaller than that thing, the amount of curve was smaller than that thing that the human eye can't see anything smaller than, would the human eye be able to see it?
I don't know. I don't know, man. I'd like you to, you're the one saying that we're too small to see curvature. Now prove your claim, please.
I'm trying to. I'm really, really trying to. So
well,
if we're on a ball that's
why don't you put out a demonstration or something? Can you put up a demonstration or anything? No.
I did. I just
no,
did.
You didn't. You kind of just threw out some hypotheticals and said, right? And I'm like, prove it. So why don't you prove it? Prove what you're saying. You're making claims. Prove what you're making claims. Now provide the evidence for your claims.
Right. So if we're on a ball that is so big that we literally can't see the changes in the slopes of the ball because it's
is that possible?
So far away, yes.
Is that possible? Prove it.
Yes.
Prove it.
Possible means you don't have to prove it. You just have to say there's no logical contradiction. Possible means no logical contradiction. You don't need to prove it.
Oh,
is it possible that unicorns exist? Yes. Do I need to prove it? No, because possible just means there's no logical contradiction.
So you think it's possible that unicorns exist?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Unicorns are the national animal of Scotland. What's your problem?
Can I do a litmus test here? Could I do a litmus test real quick?
Wait, what do you mean by possible? So you don't think it's possible unicorns could exist?
No.
What do you mean by possible?
What do you mean by possible?
No logical contradiction.
You're the one who thinks in infinite possibilities, so yeah, of course you're going to think unicorns could exist. That's crazy.
Yes.
That's insanity. You know that, right? You think unicorns exist?
Unicorns.
You think there's a possibility that unicorns exist?
Yes, it is possible for unicorns to exist. Like.
Okay, can I do a litmus test real quick?
Wait. So it would be impossible.
Wait. I gotta do this.
Well, sure. I just want to clarify. So
Yeah,
it would
let
be
TJump
impossible.
clarify, and then you can do your litmus test. This should be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So it would be impossible for a round square to exist. It would be impossible for a married bachelor to exist. It would be impossible for a round triangle to exist. Those things.
Not in your world. Not in your world. Your world is infinite possibility.
Bumpy, please don't interrupt TJump while he's in the middle of a sentence.
He's the one who believes that.
TJump,
he believes that there is a round circle.
Bumpy, you can have your chance to respond.
Square.
Bumpy, you can have your chance to respond after TJump's finished his point, okay? Sorry, TJump, please go
He
ahead.
has no point. He
Bumpy,
has no point. That's the
I'm
point.
asking you again to be
has
quiet while TJump finishes what he is saying. Whether you think there is a point or not, do him the respect of listening to what he is saying. Okay?
Oh my God.
Thank you.
I feel bad for the audience.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay. Now, be quiet and let TJump finish what he was saying. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So in my worldview, possible means there is no logical contradiction. So if there's something that has a logical contradiction, it's impossible. So round squares, married bachelors, those kinds of things are impossible. 1 + 1 = 5. Impossible because it entails a logical contradiction. Unicorns don't entail a logical contradiction, like the fact I could live in Australia. That's possible. It isn't the case I don't live in Australia, but it's possible. So possibility means a way things could have been that they are currently not that way. So like a dice, it's possible a dice could have rolled a 2, but it didn't, it rolled a 6. So it's possible, meaning that it could have been differently. So could it have been differently that unicorns evolved instead of horses?
Dude.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Whatever you say, dude.
Okay.
Whatever you say, bud.
All right. So what was your
my
litmus test, Bumpy?
All right. Is Caitlyn Jenner a man or a woman?
Well, we're not going there. Okay.
Why? What?
Because that question is irrelevant, and the only answer matters is what Caitlyn Jenner says. So that's not something.
He's over here saying unicorns are possible, but you can't
when we're talking about, well, let me be clear. Let me be very clear. When we're talking about someone's gender, the only thing that matters is what that person thinks. Okay, we do not have the right to say whether that person is a man or a woman, and I'm not going to entertain that kind of nonsense on my channel. If you have some actual questions around science to give him a litmus test, then please. But we are not going to be anti-LGBTQ on my channel. Simple as that. Okay. I am an ally, and I always will be, and I will not accept anything that is anti-LGBTQIA.
So you failed the litmus test?
No. Right. Do you have anything scientific to talk about as a litmus test?
That's kind of scientific, right?
No, it's not. It's your personal opinion about gender, and I really don't care what you think about that. It's not relating to this conversation. Do you have something relating to this conversation that you could give TJump a litmus test?
I'm just trying to figure out who I'm talking to, man. This guy's saying unicorns are possible.
Okay, so you don't have a litmus test, right?
And he says mountains are an illusion.
No, he didn't say those things. Please don't strawman your opponent. That would be wonderful. Right, so back to your claim, Bumpy. Your claim, and it wasn't just you don't see. Your claim was there is no curvature. It wasn't I don't see curvature. Your claim to TJump in your opening was that there is no curvature. So what do you have to back up that claim?
The fact that there is no curvature.
Okay, can you present any measurements or anything to discuss with TJump?
How do you measure something that's not? How would you measure something that's not curved?
You wouldn't measure a degree of change. So, do you have measurements that show no degree of change?
I don't need measurements.
Right. So,
you don't need measurements that.
I'm sorry. TJump presented evidence for his claim about the Earth being a sphere. Hold on one sec, Bumpy. One sec. Let me talk, Bumpy. Let me talk.
You can't look at something and tell that it doesn't have any curvature.
Bumpy, let me please talk here.
Wait,
Bumpy, don't make me mute you. I am being the moderator here. Now stop.
And see that there's no curvature.
I'm going to have to mute you if you don't stop, because I'm being the moderator here. TJump presented his evidence for the Earth being sphere. Your claim is that there is no curvature. Do you have anything positive to support that claim? Yes, you can measure zero curvature. Do you have anything to say that that claim is true that you and TJump can discuss other than it looks flat to me.
Well, there's no curvature. There's no
Okay,
measurable
cool.
curvature.
That's a lovely claim. Now present
If
evidence
you
for
can't
that
measure
claim.
curvature, then what are you measuring? If you're not measuring curvature, what are you measuring?
You would measure no curve. So do you have
Exactly.
measurements to back up
There's
your
no
claim?
measurement of curvature. No, I don't have any measurement of curvature because there is no curvature.
Right, okay, so you don't have any evidence to back
Get
up
it?
your claim. So how about we move on
do you have any-
to TJump, you go.
Do you have any measurements of any flatness? Did you measure flatness somewhere?
Well, no, the Earth's bumpy. Right? You agree that there's mountains, right?
Yes, there are
Bumpy?
mountains. Yes.
So,
bumpy.
so you know what flat is, right?
Yes.
So you would know something is bumpy
But
because you know something is flat, right?
don't mountains have curve?
I think more like hills.
Is that not a curve?
Hills are more curved, yeah.
Right, so the
Hills
Earth does.
have
So
curve.
wait, so now you're claiming that that there is curve.
So you don't see flat, you see curve everywhere.
No, I see bumpy. See
It's
bumpy.
bumpy everywhere. Okay, so if it's bumpy everywhere, you doesn't mean that the world is not curved, right? It could be curved and bumpy.
Well, that's your claim. But that ain't my claim. I don't claim a shape. You claim a shape.
Sure. So the fact that it's bumpy doesn't mean it's not curved.
The fact that it's bumpy, yeah, it doesn't mean it's not curved. But
Right. So if there's a really bumpy surface, would you be able to see if it was curved?
yeah,
How?
you would see the curve.
If it was bumpy, you're looking at the bumps. You don't see the curve. You see the bumps.
You would see curvature. Right?
No, not if the bumps were not all even.
So you're saying if you lived on something curved, you wouldn't see curve.
No.
That's what you're saying.
Yes, that is
So
correct.
you would see curve. So you would see curve.
No. If you lived on something that was curved, if it was big enough, you would not see the curve. Like
Prove
if you
it.
imagine. Yeah, I'd love to. We
Yeah,
should probably
I
create
bet
a
you would love
YouTube
to.
video of
Yeah,
zooming
go
in
ahead.
on a curved surface. So if you imagine a curved surface that is no bumps, and we just zoom in smaller and smaller and smaller. So if you imagine you're standing on it and you just start shrinking, tinier and tinier and tinier, the curve on the screen is going to start to go like this, and it's going to start to flatten out, right? It's going to be like if you look at a basketball, it looks really curved, and then if you look at it's like zoom in on it closer, the curve starts to shrink a little bit, right? You see less curve; it's smaller, right?
No, you prove that.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm waiting for you to prove it.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out how best to prove this. Like, so if you have a basketball that's far away, it looks very curved. You can see the entire side, but if you put it right up against your face, you can only see a small part of the curve, like a part of the curve, right?
Yeah, you still see the curve though, right?
Right. So then if you imagine getting even
Because of the
smaller,
ball, right?
right. So imagine getting even smaller, you'd see even less of the curve.
No, not necessarily. You should prove that.
Right. So if we're
Prove
very
that
far
first.
away, we see the whole
If you can
curve.
prove that, then yeah, then maybe you'd have like a point, but you don't
Cool.
have a point because you have.
Great.
You're
We
just making
can prove
claims.
this. We can prove this. You yourself can prove this with any ball.
No, you
in your
can prove
room.
it. You can prove it. That's
Yes,
your claim.
I'm going to. I'm going to.
That's your
Let me
claim. So you
prove it.
can
Let me prove it to you.
I don't have to prove it. You got
Let
to
me
prove
prove it to you. I need a ball. Here, that'll work. See my coffee mug. So you see the curvature of the coffee mug, right?
Yep.
Oh, I could do with a coffee.
How much of the curvature do you see now?
Yep. Still see the curve.
You can still see the curve, but you can't see as much
Yep.
of it, right? It's less
I can
curve.
still see the curve.
So if you got closer and closer and closer, you continue to see less and less and less of the curve, right?
Not necessarily.
Wait, so let's go through this
I
again.
can still see
So
the curve. I can still
you can
see the
see-
curve when you put
you
it
see lots
close.
of. I didn't say you couldn't see the curve. I said less curve. So just here's you can see the whole curve. Like you can see a lot of curve.
Yeah, but you're saying that
Less
you
curve.
wouldn't see curve though.
No.
You're
Wait.
saying-
We're not there yet. We're not there yet in the argument. So we're just starting with this is a curve. You can see the
Yep.
cup is a curve, and then if it gets closer to you, you see less of the curve, right?
No, I still see curve.
I
don't
didn't
see
say you
less
could not
curve.
see curve. I said could you see less of
the question
curve?
here is, can you see less of the curve when it's closer than when it's further away?
You still see curve on that.
Yeah, no, that's not right.
Yes.
If we're not going to do this. The direct question is, can you see less of the curve when it is closer to the camera than when it is further away? Yes or no?
I don't know. I don't think so. You can still see curve.
Okay, maybe I don't think he understands the question. So like you can see the entire bottom of the cup, right?
Yep.
Okay, and now you can't see the entire bottom of the cup. You can only see a very tiny, tiny part of it, right?
Okay.
Right. So if you kept zooming in, you'd see an even smaller part of it, right?
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Let's go with that.
So imagine that you're standing in between, like, I don't know, do you believe in atoms, particles? All right. So imagine you zoom in so far, you get so close to it that that you can only see like a very, very, very small percentage of it, like less than a tenth of a tenth of a tenth of a tenth of a percent. How much of the curve would you be able to see? Like, you'd only be able to see a very tiny amount of the cup, right?
So you'd still be able to see curve, though, right?
No, you wouldn't.
You would. Prove it.
I would love to. We should create a YouTube video about this, but it essentially works like this. So if you start on a curved surface like this from far away, it's going to look like this. And if you get closer and closer to it, it's going to start to look like this until it looks exactly like this. Flat, perfectly flat. So we can create a YouTube video of this for you where if you zoom into a globe so far that you can see zero pixels of curve. There will be 0 pixels. It'll still be curved. It's still going to be a ball, but you will see there'll be so small that it won't even be a difference of a pixel on your TV screen. There would be a curve, but you wouldn't be able to see it.
What curve?
Oh my God!
So-
Don't do that, hippie.
What curve? What curve? You say there's a curve. What curve?
Yeah.
He presented evidence of the curve.
You say the Earth is curving.
Yep.
What curve? Where's the curve?
Everywhere.
What curve? Show me.
We can't show you because it's too small for you to see. We
But
need to like do other things to show
You
you.
realize people say that they see curve at sea level, right?
That's great. I didn't claim that, so I don't care what they say.
So
Yeah,
you don't
let's just
care
stay-
what all your glowy buddies say.
No. You're not debating all
So
the
you're
other
saying that
globies.
they're wrong?
Bumpy, you're
Are
not
you saying
debating
that
all the.
they're wrong?
Right, Bumpy, stop interrupting me. You are not debating all the other globies. You are debating TJump right now, so please only respond to things that TJump says and don't bring up things that other people say, okay? I think that's fair.
So are you saying that you can't see curvature at sea level?
I haven't said anything about that.
So are you saying you can see curvature at
I
sea
haven't
level?
said anything about that. That was never a point in my
So
argument.
what
So
is your answer? Can you see curvature at sea level?
that was never a point I brought up in any of my openings.
Doesn't matter. You're supposed to have.
my point here was that
you're
it
talking
doesn't
about
matter
the Earth
what you
being
can see.
curved. You're talking about the Earth being curved. Where is this curve?
No, remember, so my point here is that it doesn't matter what you can see. It could be curved even if you can't see it. So whether or not you can see it doesn't matter.
It does matter. That's the whole point. If you can't see curvature, why would you think that you live on a ball? So,
For lots of
everything's
reasons.
flat. Everything flat is curved then.
No.
Well, then how come? If you can't
remember,
see
your argument
why would
was
you
that
automatically assume that it's curvature?
we don't. We think it's curved
So
for all of the other reasons,
so
like going to
please tell
space
me
and
how
not seeing it.
not seeing
So-
curvature is proof of curvature.
Seeing curvature.
That's a straw man. That is not what TJump has said. That's not TJump's claim.
Yeah, he's claiming that we don't see curvature.
No, I didn't. So, but the point here is that
So
it
we
doesn't
do see
matter what you
curvature.
see. Wait.
So we do see curvature.
Wait, Bumpy. I'm trying to address
What's
your
your
argument.
point?
Wait,
You
Bumpy,
have
stop.
no point.
Bumpy,
Bumpy.
please let him
Bumpy.
address your point. Calm down. Take a deep breath and chill.
So, Bumpy, your argument is that the world is flat because you don't see curvature. And my argument to disprove that was that even if you don't see curvature, the curvature can still be there. So you're not seeing it. Wait, Bumpy, wait.
Sorry, I actually have an argument, but
Bumpy,
Fight the Flat Earth wouldn't let me use it.
Please let him finish his point.
So Bumpy, your argument was that you don't see curvature, and that's evidence the world is flat. I said
no.
That's not. Wait. So that's not evidence the world is flat because they could be so big that you don't see it. So you may not see it, and the world would still be round. So your ability to see it isn't evidence that the world is flat.
The evidence is there's no geometric horizon. There's no sphere. There's no sphere edge. There's no sphere curve. There's no curve.
You mean that you
That's
can
the
see?
argument.
So it can still be there if you can't see it.
No, there is no geometric sphere edge. You do know that, right? Have you ever heard of the black swan?
Oh God, the black swan's been done to death. All right.
Fight the Flat Earth wouldn't let me bring this up because he
Yeah,
knows.
because it's been
Well,
debunked and it's not a point for discussion.
It hasn't
Okay.
been debunked. Why? If it hasn't been debunked,
No, it's been
if it
debunked.
has
We're
been
not
debunked,
talking
why
about
wouldn't
Black
you let me
Swan.
use it? Why wouldn't you let me use it?
Because
then?
you've
Why
brought
wouldn't
it
you let
up
me use
every time you've come, and I said it's boring and we don't need to go there. There are other things that we can
But see,
discuss.
that's the whole point, though. This debunks the globe,
No, it doesn't.
and you won't let me use it. Yes.
No,
we're
it
getting
doesn't,
down to
and
the
we're not
nitty-gritty
talking
here.
about the Black Swan. All right, if TJump wants to talk about the Black Swan, I'll
Yeah,
allow
let's
it.
talk
Okay?
about it. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. Bring up the Black Swan. Let's hear the Black Swan.
Okay. So the Black Swan. Can you bring it up, Craig?
What? It's your evidence. Why don't you have it?
Because you told me not to bring it.
Yeah,
told me
but
I
you
couldn't
should
use
always
it.
have. You've had it every time, so
You told me
don't-
I couldn't use it, so I didn't bring it.
Like you can just explain it. That's fine. You don't
Yeah.
need a video or anything.
Okay, well, your globe has a radius, right?
Yes.
What's the radius?
I don't know off the top of my head.
You don't even know your own radius?
No. Why
no,
would
it
I
doesn't
know
matter if he
this?
doesn't know it off the top of his head.
Okay, those are both Black Swans, actually.
The fact that I
bring
don't
up the
know
Black
it is
Swan. Bring up the Black Swan.
That is the Black Swan, the one on the right, roughly.
No, I don't. Is it? I don't think
Could
so.
you just Bumpy? Could you like explain what the Black Swan is? Like, what is the problem?
Yeah. Well, it's so the Black Swan is actually your argument because your globe has a certain amount of radius, right? 3959 miles.
Sure.
Okay. So the horizon should always be a certain distance away. Okay. At 1 foot above sea level, the horizon should be what, 2 miles? In the Black Swan photo, the horizon is like 10 miles away. How's that possible?
Refraction, like your eyes see optical illusions a lot. The fact that you see optical illusions is a
But
thing.
if you say it's refraction, that debunks your geometry.
So refraction is a thing about eyes and light. It doesn't change the shape of the Earth. The fact that light
it does because you can't get a radius because you can't draw a straight line to a curved surface because
So what is the fact that
everything is refracted.
yeah? So we don't calculate it by looking at it.
So is the horizon Earth curve?
Is the horizon Earth curve? I think so.
Oh, you think so?
It's like
That's funny.
close to it. It's
That's
definitely
funny. 'Cause,
refracted.
like the flat Earth says, it's not Earth curve.
Yeah,
Like,
I say
yeah.
I say the horizon is an effect of the Earth curving, which is exactly
Yeah,
what it
yeah,
is.
So-
that's
Yeah,
correct.
but
So
you also say it's not Earth curve.
yeah, it's not literally the curve of the Earth because the horizon is a bunch of light that we see. So it's not actually the actual thing.
So the horizon is not geometric.
Yeah, the horizon is just an image produced in your brain. It's not an actual thing that exists anywhere.
Well, welcome to flat Earth, bud.
No, that's a straw man.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Your globe model says you have a geometric horizon.
Straw
We don't
man.
have a geometric horizon.
Yeah, Bumpy, I've told you this before. That is a straw man of our model. Refraction exists in our model. End of story.
Please tell us all again how your model is a straw man.
Wait. So
No.
That
Bumpy,
is your model.
No,
Bumpy,
my model
do your-
includes
do you-
refraction.
So your
Bumpy,
model
Bumpy-
does not have a geometric horizon?
Right, let TJump speak.
Bumpy, do your eyes deceive you? Can you see illusions, optical illusions?
Yeah.
Okay, so the fact that you see this thing, could that be an optical illusion?
That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
And you agree with me. You say it's not Earth curve. So it's not Earth curve. It's an optical illusion. It's the
Right,
apparent
refraction
position
is
where
an
the sky and
optical
ground meet.
illusion. That's great. So I'm not saying the Earth is curved because we see refraction.
No, you're saying the Earth is curved, but you don't have a geometric horizon, which you need a geometric horizon to have Earth.
No, it has one, but the fact that you look and you don't see it
Where is
exactly doesn't matter. So
Where
the
is it?
fact that your eyes, which are very fallible and see optical
Show
illusions,
me a geometric horizon.
wait. Your eyes don't matter here. Your eyes are crap. Eyes are bad evidence.
Show
We need
me
something
the
better than
geometric
eyes.
horizon. You said you have a geometric horizon. Show it to me.
When we can send you pictures of space, they exist. Like we can literally show you the entire curve of the Earth.
No.
Yeah,
Sorry,
we
bud.
can.
Yeah.
Can you prove those were taken in space?
Yep.
You know that's a second law of thermodynamics violation, right?
That's a straw man of the second law of thermodynamics.
Wait. I want to hear how it's a violation of the second law of thermodynamics. What is the second law of thermodynamics?
Entropy.
No.
Entropy isn't a law of thermodynamics. What does it
If I was
say?
a
What is the
vacuum,
second law of
the air would
thermodynamics?
fill the space.
No, like,
So
Bumpy, he's asking you
vacuum.
specifically what is the second law of thermodynamics specifically. Can you cite it for us?
I don't know specifically, but entropy.
Well, it establishes the concept of entropy, and do you know what that is?
Yeah, it's fuck. It's sorry, brain fart. I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head, but it's like the it's a
Systems
term,
tend to order towards chaos, or something like that, right?
yes, chaos.
Close
Chaos.
enough.
Yeah. I was gonna say
Great.
chaos, but I wasn't sure if that was gonna be like the right term or not. But yes.
Great. So like, there's a thing called a magnet. Have you ever played with a magnet?
Yep.
Okay, and so magnets don't tend to fall apart; they tend to fall together. Correct? Like the opposite ends.
I'm still waiting for you to prove Earth curve.
I just answer the question.
What did you say? Go ahead.
Magnets, they attract. Like if you take the opposite ends, they pull together. They don't push apart.
Sure.
Right. So things don't always go apart. There's certain things that can pull things together and they can form. Right? This is like forces pull stuff together.
Yeah.
And we drop stuff, like that's kind of the same thing where it's being pulled down for some reason.
Well, it's not. How do you know it's being pulled down?
Well, pulled is just a word here. So we know that when we take magnets, they attract each other. And when we drop an object, it's attracted to the ground in the same way, right?
No. I don't know. That's your claim, right?
So like when we have a magnet and we put it close to another magnet, the second magnet will like pull closer, correct? It will pull towards it.
Yeah.
And when we have an object and we drop it, it will like pull towards the earth.
Well, you're assuming it's being pulled towards the earth.
Pull is just a random verb here that could be replaced with any other verb. It just means it moves. It moves in a direction towards another thing.
Does it? Does a helium balloon move towards the earth?
Does what?
Does a helium balloon move towards the earth?
No.
Does steam move towards the earth?
Right. Remember, like if we flip the magnet around, so we have a magnet that we pull the positive end to the negative end, they pull together, and if we flip it to the positive end to the positive end, it pulls apart. So the fact that they pull together in some cases doesn't mean they do in all cases. So, but we understand that there is a force, there is something there that causes this, that they're interacting in some way.
Gravity's not a force.
I didn't say gravity. Didn't say gravity yet. What do you mean gravity's not a? What do you mean gravity's not a force?
Gravity's not a force. Don't you know?
My God.
No, I don't know that. Please enlighten me. What is gravity if it's not a force?
Gravity doesn't exist. That's your.
How do things fall?
What's falling?
Like an object when I drop it? Anything?
Why does it fall, or how does it fall?
Yeah, like a force is causing that, right?
Yeah, you picking it up and dropping it. You're the cause.
I'm asking about so if I pick up an object and I let it go, now I didn't cause it to fall. Like I'm not the one. I'm not forcing it down.
What's it doing before you picked it up?
Sitting on the ground.
Exactly. You caused it to fall.
I picked it up
and dropped it.
Yeah. So I'm asking just about the falling part. I'm asking like what is causing the pulling down? Because I'm obviously not using my magical force powers to push it down.
Nothing is pulling down. Nothing is pulling down. You're saying something is pulling down. Nothing is pulling down. You picked up something. You picked up the pen and you dropped it.
So if nothing is pulling down, wait. So if nothing is pulling down, why doesn't it just float?
Because it's heavier than the air.
Heavier meaning something's pulling it down or pushing it down or causing it to fall?
It's just more dense in the air. It's more dense in the air, dude.
Okay.
Right?
So
if it's lighter than the air, it's gonna rise, right? If it's less dense in the air, it's gonna rise, right?
if it's less
Like
dense than the air. In some
Like
cases, yeah.
helium balloon?
Like we can.
Yeah.
Paper clips are more dense than water, but they float on water, so density doesn't matter there. Like density would be the same. But
Depends on the medium.
sure. So you're saying that gravity, that stuff falling, is a result of density.
I'm saying, what is falling?
Falling is just my word for things going towards the ground.
What is going towards the ground?
Any
Anything.
object that you let go of.
So you are the cause of it. You picked it up and you dropped it. You let go of it, right?
Well, no, I don't control density, right? Like I don't like make things more or less dense.
No, but you actually picked it up, okay? Like, say that pen, it's not doing anything. It's just sitting on the table, right?
Right, but we're asking why does one object go down and helium go up? What is causing the one to go down and one to go up? What is the thing doing that?
Well, it's, first off, the helium balloon rises because it's less dense. It's more buoyant than the air.
Right. So
right?
density is the force.
Yes, good job.
Okay,
Thanks.
okay. So it's not me. It's density that is causing
Well,
things
no.
to fall and.
No, you caused the pen to fall. You picked it up and dropped it. It wasn't doing anything until you touched it. You caused it to fall. You gave it the distance, and then let go of it. You picked it up above the ground, then you let go of it, and it falls.
I don't think you understand what the concept of falling is. So we're asking, why does an object of like high helium go up, and why does a pin go down? And you're saying it's density.
A pin doesn't do anything. A pin won't be doing anything if you're not holding it. If you're not picking it up, it's not doing anything. It's just sitting there, right?
I have no idea like how to like even begin to explain this to you if you don't understand your own model enough to know that you're saying density is the cause of falling.
No, I'm saying things aren't falling. What's falling? What is falling? Nothing is falling.
Being
Except snow and
pushed,
rain,
density.
right?
You're saying density pushes stuff down.
No. I'm not saying density pushes anything down. There's no push.
Okay, so the way density works is that there's you're breaking up a little bit. So the way density works is that there is a high pressure and a low pressure, and the high pressure crushes things, and the crushing causes it to go towards the lower pressure. So it pushes it up or it pushes it down.
So it's push then.
Yes.
That's what you're saying? So it's not falling. It's not pull, it's a push.
If it pushes it down, that's falling. If it pushes it up, that's floating. Floating means up, falling means down. They're just directions.
So it's a push. So you're saying it's a push now?
I already said push like 4 times, and you said it wasn't a push either.
But you said it was a pull at first.
I said both.
So it's pushing and pulling.
So yes. So that's how a force works. A force causes a push or a pull. So you're saying it is the force of buoyancy that is causing things to fall or to go up or down.
Well, to go up, yeah.
Okay. So
Buoyancy.
that's a force, right?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a force or not. Maybe. I don't know.
What is a force?
Just something that happens to something else, like, right?
A force
I
is
don't
something
know.
that happens to something else.
I love it.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's
I
great.
told you, I don't
Every
know.
physics professor in the world just had a coronary.
What's, like, what is a
So
force?
wait. I like
do
your
you think,
definition. I
Dave?
want to go with your definition. A
What do you
force
think, Dave?
is something that happens to something else.
No.
So is density cause something to happen to something else? Does it do that?
Does density cause something to happen to something else? I don't know.
Like do less dense objects go up and do more dense objects go down?
I don't know. Yes, less dense objects go up, more dense objects go down.
So that's
Right?
something
Am I
happening
right?
to something else,
I mean,
right?
Does that not
Yes,
happen?
yes, that's perfect. So something is happening to
Does that
something
happen?
else.
Does that happen?
Yes.
Okay, so you agree with me?
Yes. Then that is buoyancy is a thing. Things go up if they're less dense and
Density is
down
a
if they're
thing,
more
right?
dense.
And
Yes,
density
density is a thing. Correct.
Okay. Well then, all right. So
And that's a force by your
Okay.
definition. Okay, so if there was just a gas in a room, for example, why does the gas go down? Like we can create vacuums in a lab, right?
yeah. Well,
Okay, so if we
what's
create
the
a
definition of a vacuum?
no air.
No air. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, so we suck out all the air in a room, and if we put air molecules into the room, will the air molecules go towards the ground, or will they spread out evenly? Will the air? You don't believe in
Well, if you
molecules.
put air molecules into a vacuum, it's no longer a vacuum.
Right. So I'm not saying it. So I'm saying we start with a vacuum. So there's no air molecules in there, and then we put air molecules into them. What will happen to the air molecules? Will the air molecules evenly spread out across the room exactly the same, or will they gravitate towards the bottom?
Well, yeah, that's exactly what they do. They spread out till they hit the container, till they hit the edge of the container. That's how you have pressure. You can't have air pressure without a container.
Okay, let me ask you a different way. So is there more pressure at the bottom or the top?
I don't know.
Or is it the
Depends.
same?
I have no idea. Never done that.
Okay, that's a great place to start. So if you fill a container with like water, start with the vacuum, add water, the bottom of the water is going to be heavier. It's going to have more density than the top of the water, right? Like in the ocean, like if the deeper you go, the more pressure there is, right?
Yep.
Okay, so if that's, why would that happen if it's just because of density? If it's just because of density, then it wouldn't have a difference in the pressure at the top and the bottom, because the density of the water would be the same unless something else is there causing it to be more dense at the bottom. So there has to be some other force in addition to the density to make it heavier density on the bottom, right?
I don't know.
Okay, so take a minute to think about it. So if we have a vacuum with no air, no water, and we fill it with water, and the water is more dense at the bottom and less dense at the top, and the only thing in there is the water, that couldn't be because of the density, right? There has to be something else, because if the density is doing it, then it should be the exact same the whole way from the top to the bottom, right?
Well, you would need a container first.
Yeah, we have a
So-
container. We have a container, and we sucked out all the air, and then we put water into the container, and now in the container is full of water, and just water, and for some reason, the bottom of the container is denser than the top of the container. The water in the bottom of the container is denser than the water in the top of the container. Why would that be if it's just density? Because if it's just density, then it should have the exact same pressure the entire way through, right?
This is brilliant.
I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Well, if the water, okay. I don't know. I would think so. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. So I think that's great. So there's this some other force there. So we have density, we have it in there, but there's something else in there with the density. Density isn't the only thing working. There's some other force in addition to density, which causes the pressure at the bottom to be greater than the pressure at the top. I like to call that gravity. Whatever we don't know what this is yet. We have no idea what's doing this. Just something in there is causing the pressure at the bottom to be more than the pressure at the top. And whatever is doing that also affects everything else, like air and rocks.
Well, wouldn't it be the container?
How the container is the same. Well, the container is the same on the top and the bottom.
Wouldn't it be the container causing that, though?
No, the container is the same all the way through the container. Why would the container? How would the container?
Because
do
you
that?
need the container first.
Right. So we have a container.
So that's the cause.
And how would it cause the pressure to be more at the bottom than at the top?
Because you can't have pressure without a container.
Okay, but you can have a container with equal pressure the entire way through, right?
Yeah, but see, all this, you need a container first. So the container is actually the cause.
So we have a container. How does the container cause there to be more pressure at the bottom inside of the container? Like the container can only apply
It wouldn't
equal
have
pressure to
pressure at
everything.
all. Wouldn't have pressure at all without the container.
Okay, so inside of the container, we have a container. Like we make vacuums with containers. We buy the container and then suck all of the air out, so we have a container. How does the container add more pressure to the stuff at the bottom of the container than at the top of the container, inside of it? Right. I don't think the container can do that. There has to be like some kind of a magic in the container to do this. I think there has to
No,
be
I
some
mean, you
other
need a
force.
container first. So I mean, if
Right.
you don't have,
I've
if
agreed
you
with
don't
that
have the
like
container, you
80
can't.
times already. We have
Well,
a
that's what I'm
container.
saying. Well, then you can't do anything without the container. So the container is actually the cause,
How does the
right?
container, like, there could be something else being a cause, right? Like,
It
we could put
creates
a
the
magnet.
pressure
What?
because that's what creates the pressure.
Okay, right. So
If you
TJump
don't
is
have the
saying
container,
he
you don't have any
agrees that
pressure.
Bumpy, TJump is saying he agrees there is a container, right? And that container is
Yeah.
causing pressure inside the container. But TJump's question is why is that pressure greater at the bottom of the container compared to the top? No one's disagreeing that there's a container and that the container is causing the pressure. But why is there a greater pressure at the bottom of the container compared to the top?
Because there's a container.
That doesn't explain why the pressure is different.
Yes, because there wouldn't be any pressure if there wasn't a container. How's that not make sense? If you don't,
I
if you don't
agree.
have the
I agree.
container,
So
you can't
if
have
there's
the difference in pressure.
so if there's no
right?
container, there's no difference. Fine, but we're saying there is a container. So we agree there's a container, but inside of the container there's a difference. So like if there's just the container, you'd have the same thing. So if there's nothing but a container and stuff in it, then the pressure would be the exact same the entire way through, unless there's some special mechanism in the container
I
that
just
can
told
like
you
push
the
stuff to
container
bottom.
is the cause.
How does the container push stuff to the bottom of the container?
Because the pressure is pressing off of the container, pushing the stuff down. You need the
But
container.
the pressure would push off of all of the sides of the container equally, right? Like, why would it be pressing in one side more than the other sides?
I don't know, but you would need a container. The container's the cause.
Right. So we have a container, and the stuff inside of the container is pushing on all of the sides of the container equally, right? Or does the water
you
just
say
not
it's
like
gravity. You say it's gravity, right? I say it's a container.
Yes. Okay, so you say it's the container. So let's say you're right. Let's say it is the container. Somehow, inside of the container, the water is pushing on all of the sides of the container, but for some reason, it's pushing on the bottom more. Why is it?
The water is more dense than the air.
There's no air. It's just full of water. Remember? So we have a container. We sucked out all the air. We put in a bunch of water, and for some reason, the bottom of the water, like in the ocean, is denser than the top of the water, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're asking, in the container that has only water in it, why is the water on the bottom more dense than the water at the top? I mean, you said it was because of the container. Okay, so inside of the container, the water is pushing on all of the sides of the container equally. Like it's not selectively pushing on one side more, right? The water doesn't do that. So like water spreads out evenly, right?
Well, it's the container. So I'm saying, if you don't have the container, you don't have the pressure at all.
Okay. So water, if you pour water into a dish, it spreads out evenly, right?
Well, a dish is a container, right?
Yes,
It
dish is
contains
a
the
container.
water.
Yes, so if you pour water in, it spreads out evenly. The water pushes on all the sides equally as hard. Like it's not like pushing on one side harder than another side. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're asking, why does the water push on the bottom more than it pushes on the top?
Well, you just said that it's pushing everywhere the same.
Right, because density works equally in every direction.
So if it's pushing everywhere at the same, it's pushing at the bottom the same, right?
Right, that would be correct. So if density was the only force, then it would push in every direction in the exact same speed. It's the same force. You put the same force at the top, same force at the bottom, same force on the left and right. But we don't see that. For some strange reason, the water is pushing more on the bottom than on the top. And we want to know, why is the water...
You just said it's not. You just said it's not. You said it's pushing evenly across the container.
Density pushes evenly in every direction. But we're saying if we put water into a container and density was the only thing, then we would see it push equally in every direction. But we don't see that. For some strange reason, water pushes harder on the bottom than the top. Why does it do that?
Because there's a container.
I don't know how to better explain this.
You need a container before you can do anything. So
container,
you need the container, right?
You are
need the
muted.
container.
You are muted. Flat Earth. Muted. Still.
Do you need a container?
All right, Bumpy, look at this picture I've got here, right? This box is a container, okay? Those dots inside are particles. Now, at the bottom, as you can see, there's a pressure of 15 psi. Yet at the top, there's only a pressure of 1 psi. So what is causing that 14 psi difference between the top and bottom of the container?
The container.
How is the container doing that?
Because it's containing the air.
So why isn't the air equal all the way around?
Because of the container.
That doesn't answer the question.
It does answer the question.
How does the container do this? We're asking, how does the container do this?
Because you need a container to have pressure.
How does the container do it?
What do you mean?
How does the container make the pressure at the bottom higher than the top?
Because because it's a container, dude. That's how it does it.
How?
Contain the
What
air.
mechanism?
That's how you do it. If you didn't have the container, you wouldn't have any pressure to be talking about this at all.
We
You would
agree.
have no pressure.
We agree, but
Well, then-
T-Jump's question is why is this number higher than this number?
And I told you, because of the container.
Okay, now please explain the mechanism behind how the container causes that pressure to be different.
Because there's a container.
What mechanism is that container using to change the pressure inside?
Magic.
It ain't magic. It's the container walls.
So why are the
Oh,
container walls more, why do they like the gas more here than here? What's the difference in the container between here and here?
Distance. I don't know. All I know is you need the
Sorry,
container
T-Jump, I tried to help.
to have any pressure. You need a container to have pressure in the first place. So
Yeah, I know.
All right,
And I'm still waiting-
I'm good. I'm good to move on to
still
the next
waiting-
point. Like I think we've gone through that.
Yeah. Okay, so that was technically Hip Hop Hippie's point of there being no curvature, and it ended up on that.
well, he still hasn't proved that there is curvature. So
He absolutely did in his first point.
No, he didn't.
Whether
No, he
you
didn't.
think he did or not is irrelevant. As the moderator, I'm
I
saying
know
he
it's
did prove
irrelevant
his
to
claim.
you. I know it's
So-
irrelevant to you, but he didn't prove anything. He didn't show
Um,
anything. Just talked about
Well,
hypotheticals.
as the moderator, I am saying that T-Jump sufficiently proved his point first time round. However, you didn't prove your point on your time round. So now T-Jump's next point was, I believe, that we've been to space.
Sure. Yeah, we've literally seen it. We have pictures from it. You can buy a ticket now for lots of money to go to space yourself. Richard Branson's plane.
What space?
Space is just lower. It's the top part of the diagram. Fight the Flat Earth head there. Like, because we know that there's something causing a higher pressure at the bottom and a lower pressure at the top. The lower pressure at the top, that's where the space is.
So what is space?
It's just a very, very low pressure at the top.
Okay, but there's still pressure.
Technically, yes.
How could there be pressure with no container?
Because there's still atoms there. Like there's nowhere that has literally zero molecules.
You want to prove this?
What do you mean? Like, yes, we can prove it in the Casimir
So-
effect, which demonstrates
so-
that virtual particles exist.
You say there's atoms up there.
Yeah.
Prove it.
Well, we've
Prove
been
it.
up there, and we have sensors, and the atoms. hit
You
the
haven't
sensors.
been up there. You say we. You haven't done anything.
Human beings. We human beings.
So you mean they have been up there, right?
Sure.
Um,
Sure. You can buy
So
a
not
ticket
we,
for yourself.
not we, right?
Hip Hop
Well,
Hippie,
now,
what you're doing is the genetic fallacy. You're attacking the person instead of the evidence. It doesn't matter if T-Jump has been there personally
What
himself.
evidence?
People have
What
been
evidence?
to space, and there is evidence to suggest that. So instead of attacking T-Jump for not going to space himself personally, please address the evidence that he is presenting and talking about.
Yeah, he's saying there's atoms up in space.
Yes.
Prove it.
People have literally been there and literally interacted with them.
And you believe that, right?
Yep. They have proven it.
So you have a belief.
Yes.
So you have a religious belief that people have been to a sky vacuum.
No.
So you just said yes, and now you're saying no.
So not
A
all
belief
beliefs
is not a
are
religious
religious
belief.
beliefs. Yeah. So all
But yeah,
flowers are all roses are flowers, but not all flowers are roses.
well,
All religious beliefs are beliefs, but not all beliefs are
you
religious.
know the globe is a religion, right? It's a
No.
cult,
No,
right? You know that, right?
no,
You don't
it's
know
not a
that?
religion.
No,
Which
that is a straw man of both religion and the globe, so no.
Because, what, you say so?
Because it is a straw man of both religion and the globe, so no.
Well, the globe is a religion.
No, it's not.
Because you believe it.
what's a religion?
I don't know. What is it?
Well, you're saying the globe's a
Yeah.
religion, so you must have some definition of religion, right? Like, what's a religion?
It's a belief. It's a belief in something.
No.
So any belief in anything is a religion? Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much, yeah.
So I believe I am holding a cell phone. Is this a religion of the cell phone?
Oh,
No, you
hail
know
the
you're-
mighty TJump cell phone.
You know that's a cell phone, right? You know that's not a belief, right?
Yeah, I think you're still getting hung up on the fact that you think knowing something isn't a belief.
So you believe you're holding a cell phone? You don't know that you're holding a cell phone?
Right. So belief just means any idea you have that in your head you think is real. That's what belief means. So any idea in your head that you think is real is a belief. If you believe the world is bumpy, that's a belief. If you believe that you have a hand, that's a belief. If you believe there's a TV in front of you, that's a belief. Those are all beliefs.
Well,
They're all ideas in your head that you think are the case. So that's belief. Belief just means
they're not ideas in my head. I know the earth is bumpy because there's mountains.
And
It's not a
where did
belief.
you construct that thought? Like you
Where
were
did I
thinking,
construct
you
that
were
thought?
thinking these words, right? You were thinking inside of your head, the mountain. There are mountains. Like that is a sentence in your head somewhere, right?
So there are mountains, right?
Sure. Where did you come up with that? Like, do dogs know that there are mountains? Do ants know that there are mountains?
I don't know. I'm not a dog or an ant.
Guys, I need to use the toilet quickly. Please behave. I'll be back in 3 or 4 minutes, all right?
Right. So a belief is any idea you have in your head which you think accurately describes reality. So any
that doesn't
belief
mean it is
your
reality.
imagination. Correct.
But that doesn't mean it is reality, right?
Correct. There are true beliefs and false beliefs. So a belief is just an idea you think describes reality, and some of them are correct. The true ones, those are knowledge, and the false ones are not knowledge.
Okay, so you have a belief that people have been to space.
Right. That's a belief.
Okay.
And you have a belief that
and
people
at least you
have
can
not.
admit that. At least you can admit that.
Wait.
A lot of people
So
can't admit that.
So you have a belief people have not been to space.
Well, I know people have not been to space because space doesn't exist.
So remember, anything you know has to be a belief first. You can't know it before it's a belief. It has to start as a belief, and then it also has to be true. Like
No, because if space did exist, the air would fill the space. The oxygen.
Okay. So we're talking about beliefs. I'm sticking on this belief knowledge thing. So
Well, that's
for
reality.
something
That's not belief.
anything to be knowledge is a thing that you know. For you to know something, you have to have an idea in your head first, right? You think this is knowledge. You have an idea, right? It has to start as an idea in your head.
Okay.
And then that idea in your head,
Okay.
any idea in your head is a belief, right? If you think it's true.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. This is kind of boring.
Take a minute to think about it. So any idea in your head is a belief, and some of those ideas are correct. They describe reality correctly. So I believe people have been to space. You believe people have not been to space. One of those beliefs is true. One of those beliefs is false.
Yeah,
correct?
but see, you're making a claim that people have been.
Right. So I'm talking about just beliefs here. So you have a belief people have not been to space. I have a belief people have been to space. One of us is right. One of us is wrong. Right.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're wrong.
Okay, and so one of us has knowledge, one of us does not have knowledge, but we both have beliefs.
Well, you have a belief. You believe that people went up to the moon. You believe people are orbiting a sphere, but yet you have no evidence of any of this. You just believe
So
it.
the point I'm focusing on here is that all knowledge, all things that you know, are also beliefs that you have. You can't know something without it being a belief. It has to be a belief for you to know it.
Okay. Whatever you say, guy.
Or if you disagree, how can you know something and have it not be a belief or a thing you imagine in your head to be true? How can it not be something you imagine and be something that you know in your imagination? Like where you know all the things that you know are facts in your mind, right? They're all things in your mind. Right?
Yeah,
Right.
I think so.
Should we
Okay,
get back
so
to the fact that T-Jump's saying that people have been to space and how we can show that to be fact? 'Cause
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm waiting for the evidence. I'm waiting for the proof. Let's put it that way. I'm waiting for the truth. Come on, show me you going to space.
That's a fallacy. You don't need to show T-Jump going to space.
Well, no, he says that's possible.
Yes, it's possible. Why would that not be possible?
Because
Just costs like
space
250 grand.
doesn't exist.
If space doesn't
Space
exist, how
doesn't
do we
exist.
get this picture? Wait, shit, no,
Actual
sorry,
picture.
I'm not supposed to show that. Fuck, my bad.
Oh no, I'm sitting with a dude who thinks unicorns are possible. So, I mean, but yeah, replicate that.
Replicate what?
Go up to space. Go up to space. Go do it. You can do it. If you can do it, go do it.
Yeah, so if you bought a ticket on Richard Branson's little plane
No,
flight
you
thing,
do it. You do it.
I want
That's your belief, bro.
right,
Why
but
don't you do it?
I want you to believe it too. So I want you to do it. I want you to experience this. So if you went to space and saw this, would you believe it?
Space doesn't exist.
Okay, so if you went to
Doesn't
space,
exist.
you'd believe it, right? So if you saw this, if you went into a spaceship and went up into the atmosphere and saw this, you would believe it.
Well, yeah, I would know it because
Cool.
I would have done it.
So
Right.
so if you buy a plane ticket on Richard Branson's flight and he shows you this, you'd believe it.
Well, yeah, I would know that the Earth is a globe,
Cool.
right?
Cool, fantastic.
You would know that, right?
So lots of people have done this, and so they know that the world is
Well,
round.
you say that people have done this, but you can't
Yep.
prove that they've done it.
Doesn't this photo prove it?
No, doesn't prove it.
How
You
not?
said prove is just being able to see it. So they've
You're
seen
saying
it.
that's true. You have to prove that that's true. I don't have to prove anything. You're the one saying that that's real. Prove it's
Yep.
real.
Well, this was from
So-
Apollo
so-
17, right? They also took the same picture on
Well,
Apollo
that's what you say.
15.
That's what you keep telling me. You keep telling me that it's real. Prove it's real.
Yeah, so you said proof is just people have seen it. Those people have seen it. They've proven it's real.
Have they? Have they seen
Yes.
it?
Yep.
How do you know?
So
They
that part
take
I don't
the
need
picture.
to, because they've proven it's real. Whether you believe them doesn't matter. No one cares if you believe them. They've proved it whether you believe them or not.
Well, that's because you say so.
No, because they've literally done it. So they've done
Well,
it.
did you say
Whether
so,
whether
right?
or not
Did
whether or
you
not
say
you
so?
believe them, whether or not I say so, doesn't matter. Me and you
Well,
don't
whether or
matter.
not
They've
you
proved
believe
it.
them, whether or not you believe them, you're the one who believes them.
Bumpy. It
You're
doesn't
the
matter.
one saying that they've done it.
Bumpy, it doesn't matter what I say or what you say or what you believe or what I believe.
It
If
doesn't
they've
matter
done
what you
it,
say.
Bumpy, hold up. So if by your definition they have seen this, they've proved it. They know it. You don't. What you say doesn't matter. What I say doesn't matter. They've
I never
proved
said
it
that
by
they've
your
done
definition.
it. I've never said that they've seen it. You're the one saying that they've seen it.
Bumpy.
You need to prove
said,
that.
You said proof is you have to see something to prove it. That's what you said. So if they have seen it, then they have proved it, correct?
Yeah, if they've seen it, if they've done it.
Right. So if they've seen it, then it doesn't. I don't need to prove this to you. I don't need to show this to you. They've proved it whether you know it or not, right?
Well, because you say so, right?
Wait, Bumpy.
say
So if they have
No,
seen
no,
it,
no, wait. Because you're the one saying that they've seen it.
yep.
Prove it.
So Bumpy, if they have seen it, if they have proven it,
Can you prove that?
Hold up, Bumpy.
Can you prove
Hold
that?
up. Hold
Can
up.
you prove that?
hold
No,
up,
no,
Bumpy.
no.
Hold up.
You hold on.
Hold up.
You hold on.
Bumpy.
You hold on. Hold
Wait.
on.
Hey,
Hold on.
Bumpy,
Wait.
stop. Let T-Jump finish and then you can speak. T-Jump, off you go.
Speaking out of his ass, dude.
Bumpy, stop and let TJump speak, and then you can go.
So if someone has gone to space and they have seen it, they have proven it, and no one else's opinion matters, right? You not knowing it doesn't stop them from being right. They're right whether you know it or not, right?
Well, if they have seen it, sure, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So if they have seen it, they're right, and I don't need to show anything to you. You're just wrong and you don't know it, right?
Okay, for sure, dude. Yep.
Phenomenal. So they have seen it, and you can see it too if you go up and buy a ticket. So we know for a fact this is the case. We can see the pictures. We've seen people go to space. We have every reason to believe this is the case. There are literally satellites up there. You can bounce light and lasers off of the moon with very powerful lasers.
Can you? Can you?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes, you can do that.
Prove it. Prove it.
You can just go rinse a laser at
Prove
one
it.
of the big
You
things.
prove it. It's your claim.
Yes.
Do
Yeah,
it.
there's
You can
literally
do it. You
there's
can do
literally a
it,
place you
TJump.
can go and do it.
You can
It's
do
been
it,
done
bud.
a lot all the
You
time.
can prove it. No, just because you say so doesn't mean it has been. Do it.
I had
Do it.
someone on this channel recently that
Do
did
it,
it
guys.
themselves.
Do it.
So
Do it. I challenge you guys to do it.
Well, the problem is that
Make
we can
videos
do
of
it.
Make
And
videos of it. Make videos of it. Do it.
Sure,
right,
but there are
Bumpy, will
tons
you
of them.
Do
shut
it.
up? Seriously, cool your tits, man. You're like a triggered little child.
Do it. You're the one saying
Do
that
it.
can be that's done, so do it.
But
Show
Bumpy,
me.
these are things that you yourself could do. Like we've already done all these things. We've had
No,
freaks
you
who do
haven't.
these things.
You haven't done it.
Bumpy,
you haven't
Bumpy,
done
Bumpy,
it.
Bumpy.
You haven't done it.
You can do these things. You
You
yourself can
haven't
go do
done
these
it.
things.
You haven't done it.
Genetic
Bumpy,
fallacy.
Bumpy.
Right, stop with the genetic
You
fallacy.
haven't done it.
Okay? Stop with the genetic fallacy and address the evidence instead of just going, well, you haven't done it. That's not
No,
going to
he's
fly
just
here.
saying. All he's saying is, I can do it.
Yeah, it's easily to done. You can go to one of the observatories and do it yourself.
Prove it.
Just have to
Prove
book
your
it.
claim. Prove
I
your
could show you a
claim.
video of it being done right now. What would you
have
say?
the burden. You're saying it's possible. You have
Bumpy,
the burden.
Bumpy,
I don't
what if
have
I
the
showed you a
burden.
video of it being
I
done
have
right
no
now? What would
burden.
you say?
What I claim, I'll provide evidence.
Bumpy.
What you claim, you don't
Wait,
provide.
hold on.
Shit, dude.
You have not provided evidence for any of your claims. So don't say that you would do that.
I can.
Now,
I can. The Earth is bumpy. The Earth is
no,
bumpy.
you said that
is
the
my
Earth is
claim.
not a globe. That is
my
your claim.
I can provide evidence for that.
No,
go to a fucking
Bumpy,
mountain
shut up.
range.
I'm talking.
Go to a
Your
fucking
claim is
mountain
that the
range.
Earth is not a globe and space isn't real. You made those claims. What evidence did you
No.
provide? Yes, you
Your
did.
claim. You have the positive claim. You're the
No,
one saying
you
Earth
said
has a
space
shape.
isn't real. That was
You're
your
the one
claim.
saying Earth has a shape. I
Bumpy,
don't claim a shape.
Shut up.
You're
I'm
the
the
one
moderator.
claiming shape.
Bumpy, I'm the moderator. You stop, okay? Your claim is that space isn't real and that the Earth is not a globe. There is no curvature. Gravity doesn't exist. These are things that you have claimed, all right? Whether it's a negative claim or not,
Yes.
it's still a claim, which means you would have
Yeah,
to
but
provide
see,
evidence
you're-
for. I'm talking.
assuming-
You shut up. I'm talking. You
You
shut up.
Shut up, bitch. No, you shut
right,
up.
I'm going to mute you.
Fucking mute me.
Right, you're muted. So your claims have been made lots and lots of times. You claimed there is no curvature. You claimed that there is no space. You claimed that the Earth, the Earth definitely has no curvature. These are your claims, yet you provide no evidence to back up these claims. TJump has provided plenty of evidence for his claims. So do you have any evidence for any of your claims? Your claim at this point being that space isn't real. TJump has said that people have been there. We can present pictures of people going there. So what do you have to back up your claim that space is not real? You can now unmute yourself.
My claim is none of you guys have gone. So
Why is the
where's
fact that
space?
we haven't gone
You
evidence
have
that
the
space doesn't
That's
exist?
genetic fallacy.
You have the positive claim. You
Right,
have the
unmute you
positive
again
claim.
unless
I don't
you...
have the positive claim.
Okay, I'm going
I
to
don't
mute
have
you.
the positive claim.
Yes, you do have a
So-
positive claim. Your positive claim is that space does not exist. That is the claim that you have made in rebuttal to TJump saying that space does exist. TJump can provide evidence that space does exist. He has done so by showing a picture of things from space. Your claim in rebuttal to that is that space does not exist. Do you have evidence for that claim? Yes or no? I will unmute you now.
He's saying space exists.
It was a yes or no question, Bumpy. Do you have evidence for your claim?
He is saying space exists.
It was a yes or no question. You do not get to answer anything other
All
than
right,
yes
yes,
or no.
I have
Do you
evidence.
have
I have
evidence for
evidence.
your claim that
I have
space is not
evidence.
real?
I have evidence.
All right, please present your evidence that space is not real.
We have air. You can't have air in a vacuum.
Yes, but we know that that air goes to a lower pressure. That's what space is.
Oh, do you? Prove
Yeah.
it.
The
So it goes to
PSI,
a
the
lower
PSI at the
pressure.
top of Mount Everest
It's
is
still
like
pressure,
4
bro.
PSI. The PSI even higher up at that is like, you know, it goes down. Mr. Sensible
Yeah,
sent a balloon up
pressure.
to a 10 to negative 2 PSI torr. Sorry, space has generally been measured at 10 to the negative 17 torr. So yes, we have measured it, and there is a gradient that goes to
you're
low
measuring
pressure.
You're
Yeah.
measuring pressure.
Yeah, and that's what
Pressure.
space is. Space is a low pressure,
You can't have
as TJump said.
pressure without a container. You need a container to have pressure.
Yeah, and we are saying that space
That
is very
goes against
low
the model.
pressure. We are saying that space is a low pressure and that it exists. You claim that space doesn't exist.
where's
What
the
evidence do
container?
you have of that?
So where's the container?
The universe is a container.
Oh, the universe is a container. What's the universe?
The universe is everything.
So, okay. So where's the container? So everything is a container then.
The universe is a container that has low pressure in it. You claimed that
So
it's not
everything is
real.
a container.
Wait,
If the universe is everything, then
Bumpy,
everything is
we're
a
not talking
container.
about the container right now. We are talking about your specific claim that you said
Yeah,
that space
I
is
just
not
told
real.
you. Space isn't real because we have air pressure. Don't you understand? Do you not understand?
Our claim, like you're strawmanning our claim. Our claim is that space is just low pressure, which we know we have as you go up. So are you saying there is no low pressure as you go up?
No, there's pressure.
Is there
Because
lower
we're in a
pressure as you
container.
go up? As you go up,
So you're saying,
Right,
you're
right.
claiming there is a container. So you're claiming that there is a container?
I am not making any claims about container right now. I am asking you a question.
You just
As
said
you go
there was a
up,
container, dude.
listen to the question. As
Oh
you
my
go up,
God.
does the pressure decrease? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right. Well, that's what we're claiming space is. That that is where the pressure decreases.
So there's always air pressure.
There is always a low pressure.
There's always pressure.
Yes. Space is a
So
low
where's
pressure
the
environment.
container?
So,
where's the
you know,
container?
so can you provide evidence to TJump that space isn't real, as you've said?
There's supposedly space is a vacuum.
No, it's
right?
not. It's low
So
pressure.
space is not a vacuum. So space is not a vacuum.
Vacuum is still low pressure. So if you look up the pressure in a vacuum, it's 10 to the minus negative 6 to 10 to the minus 15, something like that. So it still has a pressure. Space has a pressure.
So it's not a vacuum.
It's a very low pressure.
Vacuum is pressure. Vacuums have pressure. Like if you look up the definition of a vacuum, it is 10 times something to the negative 6, or 10 times something to the negative 15. Those are both pressures. Still has a pressure.
Okay, so
Vacuum
where's
is
the
still a
container?
pressure.
And where's the container?
We didn't say anything about a container. We said there's a
Well,
pressure.
there needs to be a container to have pressure.
Okay, but we didn't say that. That's your assumption.
Well, no. How's that an assumption? Show me
we
air
tried-
pressure without a container.
Well, we tried to explain this to you before. Like, if we have a container and we have air in a container, there's still something else there causing a a difference in
Yeah,
pressure.
there's
You
still
didn't-
pressure because of the
Yeah.
container.
yeah, there's still pressure, and there's something more than that.
Show
There's
me air
also-
pressure without a container. You're
Okay,
saying
so
you're saying
We
that
tried-
there's
straw
air
man.
pressure without a container.
Don't strawman TJump. He didn't say that there's pressure without a container.
we tried to explain to you before in a container. So we grant there's a
Well,
container.
where's the container?
We grant there's stop.
Where
stop.
is the
So- so
container?
wait, bumpy. In order to show this, first we have to show that there's a difference in a container, and then we can show there's a difference outside of a container. So first you have to understand the difference in the container.
So where's
in
the
the
container?
container? So we have a container. Any vacuum container is a container. We have a vacuum container.
Where's
We
the
suck out
container?
all the air.
Stop
Where's
asking
the
the
container?
same question and listen to what he is saying.
Well, he's
I'm
not
ready to
answering
go.
the question.
I'm
He
ready
just-
to go
he's
to the
like,
Q&A.
oh, he's just like,
Yeah.
I don't care about the container.
Right,
I
Bumpy.
don't care
Let me
about
just quickly ask you this
I
question:
don't care about the
Where is the
I
container?
care about unicorns.
Right, Bumpy.
I care about
I've got a
unicorns.
quick question for you before we move on to the Q&A. Where is the container between the base and the summit of Everest?
What are you talking about?
Well, there is a greater difference in pressure between the base and the summit of Everest than there is the summit of Everest and the Kármán line. So
Pressure gradients. don't
so
include-
my question to you
pressure
is,
gradients
where is the
don't
container?
include a container.
Listen to the question. Where is the container between the vacuum, which is lower pressure, above the higher pressure? Where is the container that keeps the pressure between the base and the summit of Everest? Where's that container?
There's no container.
So why is there a lower pressure
We
above?
live inside a container.
You got any
You
evidence
know
of
that,
that?
right? Yeah, we have air pressure. What's pressure mean?
Where's
You
the
gotta
container?
press
Where's the container?
Against something?
Where's the container?
Above us.
Where's the container?
Above us.
Where?
I don't know.
But you're saying there's a container. Show us the container.
Well, there has to be a container because there's pressure.
Oh, well, you're making an assumption that there is a container. Show us the container.
No. You even say there's a container.
You're
You
saying
even said
that you're saying there's a
Yeah.
physical container. Please show us this physical
Yeah,
container.
now you're saying that there's now you're trying to get me like to say, oh, no, there isn't a container. When you have
Well,
when
where's
you
the
even admit
container?
that-
Where is the container between the base and the summit of Everest?
You have problems hearing?
I'm
No problem,
asking you where the container is between the base and the summit of Everest, because that is a larger change
There
in
shouldn't be a
pressure.
container.
That
There
is
shouldn't be a
that is a
container.
larger change in pressure between the summit of Everest and the Kármán line. So where is the container keeping that pressure in?
Container. There shouldn't be a container. There has to be a container to have pressure in the first place.
Yeah, the universe contains all the pressure in the universe.
What?
The universe contains all the pressure in the universe.
Wait. So you're saying that in order to have pressure, there needs to be a container. Okay, fine. So in order to have a difference of pressure, there doesn't need to be. Like there can be a difference of pressure inside of a container, and there's no container between the two different pressures, right?
Yeah. Right.
Okay, so then why would you need a container at all? Like, so if there's no container
Oh, you have
within the
pressure.
container. Wait. So that there's no container inside of the container, and there's differences in pressure. Why can't there just be a difference in pressure between zero pressure and lots of pressure? Like, why couldn't we just make the container bigger until there's an even bigger difference in pressure between the top and the bottom, and then keep making it bigger until there's an even bigger
We
difference
also-
in pressure?
You also need you need a container for a vacuum too, right?
Mhm.
But you said there's
No.
is there such thing as no pressure?
Perfect vacuum. A perfect vacuum has no pressure, and there's no such
And
thing as
does
a
that
perfect vacuum.
exist?
I
No,
don't
Does
think
that
so.
exist?
no.
Okay, so there's always going to be a container
Well, there's always going to be pressure, but we don't actually need.
because there's always going to be a container,
Nope.
right?
So remember, imagine
Yeah.
that there is a container, and imagine in this container there's no pressure at the top, and there's a whole bunch of pressure at the bottom. Now there's no container at the top, between the top and the bottom. The container is around the whole thing, right?
Yeah, that's how
That
you have
means that-
pressure.
Right. So at the top there's zero pressure, and at the bottom there's tons and tons of pressure, and in between there's a whole bunch of particles.
He said
more
there's
at the
never
bottom.
zero pressure.
Yeah, it's very, very small. So almost no pressure.
Oh, so there's
Let's
still
say
pressure.
10 to the
though.
let's say 10 to the
Still
negative
pressure.
17 torr. Right, that's the pressure he's talking about.
Yeah.
And there's still pressure,
Okay.
right?
Sure. That's virtual particles. Yes, there's still a tiny amount of pressure, but that's space.
Yeah. How do you have pressure without a container?
So I'm trying to explain this to you. Try to follow the argument. So if we have a container,
You can't have pressure without a
wait,
container.
wait,
That's
wait.
the answer.
There's a contradiction in what you're saying here. So
No,
wait,
Bumpy,
Bumpy,
just listen.
Bumpy, there's a
Two ears,
contradiction
one
in what
mouth.
you're saying here. So if we have a container and there's a difference in pressure between the top of the container and the bottom of the container, and we make the container very, very, very long, so it's very, very far to the top, very, very far to the bottom, there's a whole bunch of pressure at the bottom. There's 0 or 10 to the negative 17 torr at the top. There's space at the top. So we have a container and there is space inside of the container, even though there's also gas inside of the container. Right? So you see a problem here?
Nope.
No, of course you don't.
Yeah, because there's a container. There's a fucking container.
Yeah.
So
If there's pressure, there's a container, dude. What the fuck?
Here's
My
the
God.
thing. Here's the thing. Nobody is saying that there's no container, right? The universe is a container. There's a container.
Well, let me put it this way. Let's imagine that the globe Earth is correct, and that there's gas around the globe Earth, and there's a container around the solar system. So there's still a container. So we have a container around the solar system, but space is real. The gas floating on the globe is real, but there's still a container.
We can just assume all this stuff. It's begging the question. We're assuming.
He's trying to have a conversation with you.
All this is hypothetical bullshit, dude. Like, that's all it is. That's all we're talking about. It's hypothetical.
Okay, double standards. Your hypothetical container. Show us the container, otherwise it doesn't exist. You said you can only prove a container or something by seeing it. So show us the proof of the container.
You just admitted that there's a container.
No, you're the one that's saying that you prove things by seeing them. So show us your proof of the container.
To show you a container when you just admitted that there is a container.
Yeah, I say the container is the universe. What do you say the container is?
Well, it could be the universe. Like, just because you have an idea.
So there we go. The universe is a container. We're agreed.
Well, let me finish here. Just because you say that the universe in your heliocentric model is a container doesn't mean my universe is infinite fucking space.
Okay, what's your universe then?
Just wherever the container stops.
Where does show us where the container stops?
I don't know where it stops.
How do you know it's there then? You said you can only prove things by seeing it.
Because you have air pressure.
No, you said you can only prove things by seeing it. So when did you see the container?
No, I said you can prove things by seeing it. I'm not saying that's the only way.
That is what you said. That is definitely what you said. So you're changing your story now. There's other ways of proving things other than seeing them. Is that what you're saying?
Sorry, I know it hurts. I know it hurts because you have to admit that there is a container.
Yeah,
to have air pressure.
Yeah, the universe is a great container. It contains all the pressure in the universe.
I know it hurts a lot. I know it hurts a lot, dude. I know.
But
I know it really hurts.
But the universe contains all the pressure in the universe. I don't know what your problem is.
Where's that container?
Right. So wait. So we're saying that, let's say there is a container around the solar system. There is still space. What we're saying is space is still there. So we can go to the space that it still has a pressure of negative 17 torr. So it still has pressure in space. And we can go there. And we can go to the moon.
Can you go there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been done.
Well, go there. Go build a rocket. I know you science boys really love space. Now,
there's a bunch of people building rockets right now. We don't have to do it ourselves.
Oh, I don't have to do anything. I just let other people do it for me.
Okay, can you cite me where science says I have to do everything myself?
Well,
are you just making that up?
You should want to prove your belief, right?
Yeah, I don't have the money or resources to build a rocket, and I'm pretty sure TJump doesn't either. So,
well, why don't you guys all pitch together and do a little GoFundMe?
Because a little GoFundMe isn't going to make enough to build a rocket. We'll leave that to the billionaires.
You guys have ingenuity. I know you guys could do it. I know you guys could persevere.
It's been done. Elon Musk's done it recently. So has Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos.
Oh, you just because you say so, right?
No, because they've done it. So.
Oh, because you say so, right?
No, because they say they've done it.
Oh, because they say so.
Yeah, and lots of people that are doing it with them, including the 18-year-old child going up with Jeff Bezos to, in about 6 hours, I believe.
So just because they say so?
Well,
no, because they've done it.
Oh, because you say so.
No, because they've done it.
We can watch the thing from the ground go up into the air and go up to the point where we can't see it anymore, and then we can watch the cameras.
And that's it. That's it, right? That's it, right? That's all you can.
Then we can see the cameras from inside the thing that they're showing while it's going on.
Yep.
So here's one picture from space, Apollo 17. Here's another picture from space, Apollo 15.
Oh, is that from space?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, yes.
Oh, prove it.
I prefer the international.
Here's the proof. It's done again. Really cool. Yeah.
Prove it.
Oh, there you go. There's it done again. That's it done twice.
Replicate it.
Oh, there's the replication. There you go. There's it replicated.
No, I'm talking about you.
Why do no? You're straw man in science. Nothing in science says I have to do it myself.
Well, then you could just go on believing it. like you always do, because you have
Well,
belief.
I'll have the evidence to suggest that my belief is correct.
And do you believe your car works? Have you literally built it piece by piece the entire time?
No, I haven't built it piece
Oh
by
God!
piece.
What build your whole car? Because you obviously have no
Yeah.
evidence your car works.
Well,
God.
obviously, I know my car works if I could drive it.
How do you know you can drive it?
Get in, start the engine.
Well,
and
you say
off
that.
I go. Oh, I say that? Oh,
Yeah,
I
have you got
say
any?
that?
You got any evidence of that?
Okay. Yeah. Okay, bud. Yeah, none of us know how None of us drive cars. None of us.
Well, no.
Well,
Did you
yeah,
build
that's
a
the
car?
point, is
Did
that
you build a car
we
yourself?
have these
Cars
toys,
are
these
just an
mechanisms.
illusion. Cars are just an illusion. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, but
I'm
it's
shocked that you've got a
possible.
driving license, if I'm honest. Right. Anyway, we're going to go into Q&A. Thank you to both TJump and I'm not going to say thank you to Hip-Hop Hobby because you were terrible. You can find link to TJump in the description. Please do go and drop TJump a subscription. He does some amazing debates. Do you have a regular schedule, TJump, that you do?
Nope, it's kind of random because I
Just when
I
it, yeah.
go to sleep at strange
Yeah,
hours.
sleeping sucks, right? But thank you very much for coming on and having the conversation with that. So we're going to start with the super chats. Alison for $2
Fuck
Australian.
you.
But, yeah, love you too, Bumpy. So Bumpy, why is all navigation based on the globe?
What globe?
The globe that navigation's based on.
Oh, prove it.
All navigation's based on the globe. I've proven that by actually
Prove it.
calculating
Prove it.
distances.
Prove it. Prove it.
The Haversine formula proves it.
Oh, does it?
Yes.
I thought science doesn't prove anything.
Maths proves things, and the Haversine formula is maths.
Oh, so it's proof. It's proven.
Yeah, the Haversine formula is proof that navigation is based on the globe. So why
Okay,
is
whatever
navigation
you
based
say.
on the globe?
Did you say so? Did you say so?
Well, no, because the proof says so. So why is navigation based on the globe?
Oh, but there's infinite possibilities. So are you sure?
So you don't know why navigation is based on the globe then? You can just say, I don't know.
What globe? What globe?
This one.
Which one?
This one.
Oh, that's just an image, dude. That's not real.
That's the globe. Oh, you just claimed it's not real. Can you provide evidence it's not real?
No, you gotta provide evidence that it's real.
Here we go. Here is it repeated. There's my evidence.
Oh, well, so you see the difference in those two?
Yeah,
Sheesh.
different cameras. So what?
Yeah, looks totally different.
Yeah, different cameras will
Yeah.
take different images. And
I buy that. I buy that.
right, okay,
Sure.
so you don't know, right? No worries. Connell Silver for $5. Water flying off a ball here on Earth cannot happen without gravity, which Bumpy and the rest of his ilk deny exists. Flat Earth debunked.
What would happen on a flat Earth though? You put a ball in water and you spin it and it flies off.
Why would it fly off?
Why does it fly off?
Yeah, why would it fly off and go towards the ground?
It flies off in all directions.
And then goes towards the ground.
You've never
What?
fucking put a ball in water and spun it? And
Yeah,
see the
and
water
it
fly?
flies off and then goes towards the ground once the kinetic energy is expended.
So what?
So why does it go towards the ground?
Doesn't prove anything.
Proves that there's a downward bias. Fog Repair Ship Akashi for
No, it
$5
doesn't.
says
It
no
doesn't prove
Earth-based. Shut up. Fog Repair Ship Akashi $5 says no
Shut up.
Earth-based Coriolis, Sir Humpty Dumpty. Explain the different rotation directions of hurricanes in relation to the equator without Coriolis.
If the Earth rotated under hurricanes and pendulums,
Wait, you're
and the light
strawman in
gyros-
Coriolis.
No, I'm not. No,
Yeah,
I'm
you
not.
are. You're strawman in Coriolis. Coriolis isn't the Earth rotating underneath things.
No, you're saying there's two reference frames, okay?
No, but
Inertial
Coriolis
and
is not.
non-inertial.
You are strawman in Coriolis. Coriolis is not
No,
Earth rotating
you need
underneath
two reference
things.
frames to have Coriolis.
Coriolis, yeah, and one reference frame is the
Yeah,
fact that
yeah.
something is moving in a particular direction. Coriolis
Yeah,
is
exactly,
not the Earth
exactly.
rotating underneath things. That is a strawman of Coriolis.
If the Earth is rotating underneath a pendulum, it's going to rotate underneath an airplane.
No, that is a
But it
strawman
doesn't.
of Coriolis.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
So all you've got is a straw man of Coriolis, which is why you can't explain it. Okay. Philosopher King Gaming for $2 says Bumpy is a walking, talking genetic fallacy. Yes, he absolutely fucking is. Angel Gary for $5 says Hip Hop Hippie, you can't actually be this fucking dumb, can you? Are you this dumb, or are you putting it on?
I'm not the one who said I couldn't use the black swan because you're scared.
Refraction exists. It's the thing. It doesn't prove anything because refraction exists in our model. So there we go.
Say refraction is debunking your geometry.
Refraction doesn't debunk our geometry. Refraction exists because of our geometry.
Yeah, it debunks your geometry.
No, it doesn't debunk our geometry. It exists because of our geometry.
Yeah, it does.
Richard Walker, $4.99. No, and again, that's another straw man.
Yeah,
you do not need to be able
What's
to.
A tangent?
You can have a tangent can be a straight line to a straight line. It doesn't have to be a straight line to a curve.
No, a tangent is a straight line to a curve.
No, a tangent can be a straight line to a straight line. It doesn't have to be to a curve. But you do not need to be able to have a tangent to the horizon to calculate Earth's radius.
A tangent to a straight line is an angle.
You can have a tangent to a straight line. It will be level to it.
It'd be level, so that'd be parallel.
Yeah, and that would be a tangent to a straight line.
So a tangent is a parallel.
Not always. You can have a tangent to a curve, or you can have a tangent to a straight line.
You don't know what a tangent is.
But I know exactly what a tangent is. However, you do not need a tangent. Shut up. Shut up. You do not need a tangent to a horizon to calculate Earth's radius. You do not measure Earth's radius. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Shut up. No, you don't. No, you don't.
How come the curve calculators have a tangent to a curved surface?
Because the curve calculator is doing it based on a orthographic view, but to calculate Earth's radius, you do not need a tangent to the horizon. You do not need to see the. No, you don't. You do not need to see the.
Yes, you do. That's what your curve. That's what your curve math
says. Stop saying. Stop strawmanning what we say. You do not need.
Your globe.
Hip hop hippie. Just stop. Just stop. Sure. Just stop. You do not need to be able to see the horizon to measure the radius. You do not.
You do.
No, you don't. You can do it by diverging plumb lines. It's simple. You do not need the horizon.
You're assuming a globe.
No, you measure diverging plumb lines and you map it out.
There's no diverging plumb lines, man.
Diverging plumb lines disagree.
You're fucking crazy.
I've literally shown measurements of diverging plumb lines on this channel many times.
Caitlyn Jenner is a female, dude.
What?
Come on now.
Don't be an LGBTQIA asshole by being against things like that. Do I have to boot you for being a dick? Stop being a transphobic piece of shit, alright?
I'm not transphobic.
No, you fucking are. Fuck you, you transphobic asshole. Fuck you. Fuck you. And no, you want fuck off. And when you get there, you can fuck off again. You transphobic asshole.
Poor boy.
No, fuck you, you transphobic piece of shit. You are the literal definition of fucking scum. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Right? Fuck off, Bumpy. And when you get there, please fuck off again. Alright? You do not get to come here and be a transphobic asshole on my channel. This is an ally channel. You do not get to do that here. It just proves what fucking pieces of shit flat earthers actually are. You now get removed. Sorry, TJump, but I don't put up with shit like that. So I guess we get to read the rest of the super chats without the asshole being here, huh?
You're just gonna have to play the role and imagine what he's gonna say. Let's pretend to be him.
I'm sorry, but I don't put up with anti-LGBTQIA stuff. I am an ally, and I think it's absolutely fucking despicable when people do that. It literally just shows what fucking assholes that flat earthers are. There isn't flat earthers that are decent people because they're all fucking this dumb and retarded that they think it's okay to bash on transgender people. Because in their little mind, they can't see how this person is. It's all in their fucking little tiny, warped fucking worldview. I am an ally, and I will never be ashamed of that fact. Fuck you, Bumpy, you piece of shit. Sorry. Richard Walker for $4.99 says, painful to watch at times, head hurts, 23:33 UK time last night. First time using an ISS tracker and saw it for the first time. Really cool. Yeah, it's amazing that you can literally just look at an app and it tells you where the ISS is, and then you go out and look at it. And they base that on a globe, her TJump.
No, it's just the bumps. It's just the bumps.
Just the bumps, yeah. There's no curve, but Earth's bumpy. What, bumps don't have curves now? Brainy Beaver, $2 says, truth and love. Believe in love. Always believe in love. Logical Hellbilly, $5 says, dipshit hippie asks for evidence, knowing damn well he won't accept any. Slap. Mickey Riot for £5 says, love your approach today, TJ. Just a shame it's wasted on this guy. He's putting more effort into avoiding the truth than looking for it. Classic flurf. Yeah, I like
Is there
your
like one
approach.
that wouldn't do that? Do you know of any good flirts who would actually like try to engage with the argument?
I've probably had 3 or 4 what I would say good debates out of the 540 plus that I've had. I had a relatively good one recently with a guy called Joe Redman, where he tried to put forward arguments and logical, ways of putting things together, but it's still based on just misunderstandings and strawmans of what Earth actually is. I don't think you'll ever find a flat earther that can put together a coherent argument based on physics, because if they understood physics, they wouldn't be a flat earther, right?
Yeah, but I like the kinds of conversations I think are the most enjoyable are the ones where there's people who are actually willing to think about what you're saying and try to process through it. So if there's a flat earther who does that, I'd love to talk to them, because just having them be willing to explore your arguments and not just say there's a difference in pressure because of the container.
Because the container, yeah, magic container. Well, I was trying to get you JM Truth, because I think you could have a good conversation with him. He's probably one of the only other ones that I've had, I would say, semi-decent conversations with. And JM can at least kind of run through hypotheticals and stuff. He gets a bit pouty and throwing the dummy out of the pram when you put him in a corner, like you did very well tonight, TJ, by putting Bumpy Earth into a corner where the only thing he could say was, I don't know. And whenever they say that, you've won the argument. So maybe JM Truth. Maybe even Mitchell from Australia would be a good debate with you, because he does try to be eloquent and logically consistent in the things he says. He fails miserably, but yeah, I think I'd like to see you debate Mitchell, definitely. Steve6464 for $5 says, I don't know, therefore Earth is not a globe. Basically flat Earth. Holy Smalls $5 says, FTFE, your poll is wrong. It's spelt will win. It should be 1. Yeah, the poll was, who will win, TJump or a flat earther? And we've had 935 votes. 89% said TJump, 11%. So nearly 100 people thought that TJump would lose to Hip Hop Hippie. What do you think about that, TJump?
You have a lot of flat earthers who watch your channel.
I reckon there is. David Lee for $4.99 says, if the first scientist said the moon is 238,000 miles away because I checked it with radar, every other scientist would have tried to find out what. Yeah, if the first one said that's how they did it, then they tried to repeat it. But these things have been repeated so much that we don't need to then go do it again to confirm what they've said, because you don't have to go and do all the science. We don't want to start science again every time we're trying to do something. We'd never get anywhere, right?
And more importantly, like the fact that you can do it in your backyard, you can buy a ham radio. It's going to be a pretty expensive one. You can bounce them off the moons and confirm this for yourself, like what flat earthers want. Like they want you to be able to do this personally. This is an example you can do personally.
And they won't, because they don't want to prove it to themselves. They don't want to have no reasonable doubt that the Earth is a globe, because it goes against what they want to believe.
Well, except for the guy who bought the like $40,000 gyroscope, the laser gyroscope.
The $20,000, yeah. Thanks, Bob. That's this video here.
If the Earth is spinning at one rotation every 24 hours, that means that every hour it has to turn 15 degrees. And if the gyroscope is mounted anywhere on Earth, it's going to drift.
Get the thanks, Bob emojis in.
In today's 21st century navigation systems, they're using what's called a
So is he
ring
still
laser
a flat earther?
gyroscope.
Yep,
It's
very much so.
Extremely precise. If we could simply get one of these ring laser gyroscopes,
He's
we would be
trying to
able
prove
solve
that it's the
that
aether.
there is no
Oh, he won't
rotation
talk
of
to
the
me.
Earth. One of the people in the community
I've tried
actually
several
purchased
times.
one for $20,000.
He says that I'm human
But
scum.
what we found is when we turned on
and
that
that I'm,
gyroscope,
like, warping
we
children's
found
minds
that
and stuff.
We were picking up a drift.
A
15 degree per hour drift.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah. No, I've tried the whole Globebusters team, and Witsit has talked to me a couple of times, but the rest of them won't even look at me. Like, Jeranism straight up hates me. In fact, he does a podcast regularly with Dearth and Conspiracy Castle, and most nights they bash me quite a lot, but they won't ever talk to me. You know, they just spend hours talking about me, but they'd never dare actually come and talk to me.
Yeah, you have a free advertising firm.
Yeah, I don't mind. When I started this, right, I started to try and keep track of how many videos about me flat earthers have made. But when it got to like 3,000, I lost count. There's way more videos about me by flat earthers than I've made. So many more. There's a guy called David Banner who, no lie, every day will do a stream and have me in the title talking about how I'm an idiot and stuff. Every single fucking day. Like, it's just constantly pushing me into the algorithm. Thanks, guys. Robib for $5 says, why even debate? Hip Hop Homeless attempting to derail a conversation because he doesn't understand the words used by TJump. David Lee, $4.99 says, what else it could have been? Philosopher King Gaming with $10. Accepting the hypothetical is recognizing the logic is valid. After that, evidence means the argument is sound. Triple H must accept the conclusion of a sound argument, or he is irrational. That is the start. Yeah, logic is just something flat earthers don't do. And then there's the double standards that they have with everything, right? You have to prove
You can't have
me,
logic without a container.
No, you can't. How do you have logic? Well, container first. I think I might just get a t-shirt that says, where's the container? Holy Smalls for $5. Hip Hop Hippie isn't real because he can't scientifically prove he exists. Since he doesn't exist, his argument is invalid. Well, we wish he didn't exist because he's a transphobic piece of shit. Syed Ahmed, $4.99. Can we all agree the real winner here is T-Jump's comfy as fuck chair? Yeah, I think your chair's more comfy than you, isn't it? More famous than you, even.
My chair's more comfy than me. I mean, you've only sat in my lap like 3 times. I don't know if you have a fair comparison.
But everyone knows T-Jump's chair. Is that a sofa or is it just one chair?
It's a Lazy Boy chair. It is a Lazy Boy Crandall recliner. It's a single chair. It's pretty big.
Oh, I'm jealous. That sounds well comfy. Oh, look at that. Dude, that looks awesome. Is that quite an old chair? Have you had that for a while?
This is my second one. The first one I got, I broke it because I used to weigh like 340 pounds. So I got a new one, and this one's lasted me for, I think, 6 years.
Nice. And well done on losing all the weight.
Thank you.
Yeah, I lost a lot of weight as well. I lost nearly close to 5 stone this year so far.
Nice.
Yeah, I feel so much better.
Stone is like 12 pounds, something like that?
Yeah, I feel so much better. And I never want to go back to being fight the tight shirt. Fulgur Persia Pakashi, $2 says, Triple H, you are awake in your dreams, logic fail. Yeah, he thinks that you know when you're awake and you're asleep all the time.
How do you know you're not dreaming? Because I'm awake. Duh. God.
I know. I mean, I had this crazy dream that, it seemed like it went on for 4 years that there was an orange guy in charge of America. I mean, imagine if that was real. Crazy, right? And then there was like a crazy scarecrow guy in charge of the UK.
And
Wait,
a turtle, a talking turtle, is the charge of the Senate.
Yeah, I know. Imagine aliens actually turning up right now and going, what? No, just no. Alison, $2. So even when we go by his standards, he backpedals. Yeah, flat earthers have nothing but double standards. Empty Hermit 29. I almost missed the insane ramblings of Bumpy Earth, aka Hip Hop Hippie, aka King of Nutter. Almost, but not quite. Fogger Persia Pakashi, $2. Humpty Dumpty can't critically think. Too many fools. Yeah, I think as a child he was fed lead paint instead of formula. So, C. Mitch Play, $4.99. I think we should take a moment and thank TJ and FTFE for losing half their brain cells for our amusement. You are both heroes. Yeah, I am sorry for putting you against Hip Hop Hippie.
Hey, he's not the worst flat earther I've gone against.
Really?
What's his name? Yeah, I forget. The guy I mentioned earlier before the conversation who just completely gibberish.
Wonton?
Latter-day Saint. Latter-day Saint.
Oh, God, yeah, no. My debate against him was fucking awful. He just spent the entire debate eating bananas with their skin on.
You know what I'm saying, bro? Come on, bro. Bro.
Yeah. What the fuck is wrong with him? That's a long list. Don't answer that. Zephox, $5. Man, this flat earther doesn't know a lot of stuff. Yeah, no, they don't know anything. Frogger Persia Pakashi, $2. This is the latest episode of the Nutter Show. Alison for $2 says, you want demonstrations? Calculate a distance. Yeah, which was literally one of my jobs in the Navy, to calculate distance for fuel consumption. And if I didn't calculate it on a globe, we would have got it wrong, and I would have been shouted at. Rocky Fade for $5 million says, say cool whip. Say cool. Now say whip. Now say cool whip. This debate in a nutshell. Cool whip. Olaflamo for $5 says, Bumpy, ask about sex instead of gender. Sex is provable scientifically. Gender is an opinion. Yeah, but it doesn't matter because he is just a transphobic idiot. Roki Thane for $5 million says, why does TJump need to prove anything and Bumpy Earth not need to prove anything? What do you think about that? The fact that he will constantly ask you for proof, yet refuse to ever provide proof for anything he says.
Well, I think you're actually too unfair on flirfs. I mean, flirfs are dumb, so if they were smarter, they could form their arguments in a way where it's purely just a negative. They're like taking atheism. Atheism does this all the time, where we say, we don't believe God exists. Do you have a reason to prove God? And they're essentially trying to do the same thing, but they're not smart enough to form their arguments in that way. So they don't have the ability to accurately present that argument, but that argument exists. Like, you could make a flat earther position, which is just the negative. I have no reason to believe that, and try to defend it. They're just unable to do so.
Yeah, they are too dumb to form coherent arguments, and they're not only too dumb to form coherent arguments, but they're literally too dumb to realize when they're being horrific people, right? And I think that's where a lot of the fact that so many flat earthers are just horrible, horrible people is because they're too dumb to realize that what they're saying is inappropriate or wrong or mean. They don't have the intelligence for self-reflection. So they can never tell themselves that what they've just said is wrong because they don't have the intelligence to realize that what they said is wrong. So
yeah, I think they're very judgmental in the fact that most of their beliefs are based off the Bible, so they do have very bigoted views. That's definitely a real thing, and they aren't just because I've taken debates against many SJW positions, just to be fair, but I don't do it to be mean. I think that it's reasonable to criticize positions you disagree with as a kind of a logical argument, like if you think they make a bad argument, but doing it to be an asshole is definitely something that's abhorrent.
Yeah, I mean, I am an asshole to flat earthers, but that's come from talking to so many of them. I think I've got a reason to be an asshole to them. Indie Tiger for $5 says, Elasmotherium sibiricum, aka rhino unicorn, lived long enough to share the earth with humans, according to study. So apparently there was unicorns.
Yeah, for sure. There's a few species that have technically been called unicorns, but I don't know. He really has a strange definition of possible if he thinks unicorns aren't possible. Like, yeah. I'm still really curious why he thinks unicorns aren't possible.
Because he sees unicorns as the magical creature described in Harry Potter. He can't see unicorns as just a horse-like thing with a horn on its head.
Well, even just take the magical thing in Harry Potter, that's still possible. Like, evolution could have produced something like that minus the magic.
Yeah, but he can't separate the magic part, that's the thing. If it's a unicorn, then it has to also be magic in his mind. We've got a new member, Danny. Welcome to the Scrappers. Thank you very much. Vispa for 10 New Zealand dollars says, the Flurf's one brain cell is struggling to understand that, or he is just dishonest. A bit of both. Stringer News 1, one of my most amazing supporters of the channel. He's been here since I started. For $2 says, Moden's dumbass. Yeah, you're a dumbass, Triple H. Allison for $2 says he just admitted that he is a flat earther. I know, he does it all the time. He says flat earth all the time, but then complains that he doesn't say he's a flat earther. He says the earth's bumpy. JDT Turbo for $2 says, poor man's Nathan Thompson. Oofed. To be called a poor man's Nathan Thompson is a real fucking insult.
Yeah, like, I know. I've met him.
Yeah. Oh my god. TJump was telling me before we started that he was there when Team debated Nathan live. What were you doing? Were you just watching it?
I moderated a debate. James was doing like a debate circuit. He had like 3 debates or 4 debates in the area. So he flew me down to do my debate. And then so I was in the area for the other ones and just hung out. Nice.
I'd love to come over there and meet you guys. Maybe James will pay for me to fly to America. What do you reckon?
Oh, we're trying. He does frequent flyer miles, so he's actually flown people to Malaysia and back, and he was going to fly me there for my debates this August, but it got canceled because of COVID. So that's definitely a possibility, and we're definitely
Hey,
thinking
if he
about
wants to
doing
fly me
live
to
debates.
America, I'll do a live debate with a flat earther, no problem.
Awesome.
Mouth Breather $5 says, since you want to bring up the second law of thermodynamic, then immediately change subjects, please tell me what a Carnot engine is, Bumpy, if you don't rage quit. No. Well, he didn't rage quit. I booted him for being an asshole. But no, I can tell you now, he would not know what a Carnot engine is. Fokker Pership Akashi for $2 says, how does relative density work with airplanes, Triple H? Connell Silverfur for $2. Bumpy should be banned for scaring away Dave. I think after that outburst, Bumpy is properly banned now. Lord Luminous Poof, $2 says, prove it plus I don't know on a loop. Triple H is not needed. Yeah. Beanie Beeman for $2 says, best quote ever. I don't know. Fogger Pership Akashi, $2 says, FTFE for my facepalm pillow pre-order. I need it. Yeah, those will be going on sale very soon. I'll also be giving away 20 of them during my 50k subscriber special as soon as I hit 50k. Stringer News 1 for $5 says, if there are no stupid people crossings, how does Triple H get across a street? With a crash helmet, I imagine. Neon Sal, €5. The pressure on Bumpy's brain is too much for him. Why, you ask? Because his head is a container. Duh. Because container. Pressure needs a container. Container. Container! Holy Smalls for $5 says, so since I'm a Glober, I can't believe in God? By this logic, aren't all Flurfs atheists then? Checkmate, Flurfs. There is so many Flurfs that are religious, but there is the ones that aren't religious because they think religion is a form of control. But you've not come across any non-religious ones, have you, TJump?
Nope, just the usually Christian ones.
And usually going by the Bible. The Bible says flat, right?
Yep. It's on a disc. It's on pillars. God.
Yeah, I know. The four corners. Wait, so Earth's a square? Roby $5 says, somebody called BumpyEarth420, stupid once in his life, and now he's dedicated his life to doing anything to feel intelligent without learning. They never try to learn. Fuck YouTube for $5 says, I have a belief that Flurfs are idiots. Is that a religious belief? No, it's just an outright fact of the universe. Logical Hillbilly for $5 says, Bumpy, this is why you're not supposed to drink the bong water. Yeah. I've done that once by accident.
Accident?
Yeah, I was drunk as well as high and had a little bong next to the drinks, and I just picked up the bong. You realize really quickly, because it doesn't taste good at all. Like, it's the worst taste imaginable, and the smell that comes with it, like, much vomiting happened. Oh god, it jumped. Where are we? Ozen for $2 says, does Bumpy have an internal voice? No, he doesn't have a brain, so he can't have an internal voice. Stringer News 1 for $2 says, triggered as fuck. I got a little triggered there when he started being, transphobic and stuff. I got a little triggered there because I fucking hate it. I think it's disgusting. And I'm a complete ally. So, yeah, I did get a little triggered there, but he gets more triggered. Rayron ED for $5 says, I've never been flying, therefore humanity has not invented flight. Yeah, I've never been to America. I've never been to parts of America, so I guess they don't exist. Never been to Texas, never been to New York. So, they aren't real because I've never been there. Have you ever been to the UK, T-Jump?
Yes.
Oh, right, so that definitely does exist then. Ever been to Scotland?
Nope.
It's usually cold here, so just bring a coat. Fokker Pership Akashi for $2. The burden of proof is on the claimant, i.e. Triple H. Yeah, he claims everything, but then claims he doesn't make a claim. Indie Tiger for $10 says, as I recall, there's so much hydrogen in outer space that there's a constant radio hum due to the electron flip in a hydrogen atom, which happens once every 22 million years. But there's so much hydrogen in space that the theoretical starship could have a scoop on the front and collect enough hydrogen just from traveling through space to power itself. But we don't quite have that technology yet.
There's also virtual particles, and virtual particles add pressure to all empty space, even if there was no atoms.
Yeah, yeah, and you can use the Kashmir effect to demonstrate that as a fact. Stringer's one for $2 says 2 ears, 1 mouth, 0 brain. I know, flat earthers amaze me that they've given away their brains and still live. Caucasian Sensation for $2 says, is this rude dude eating while talking? No, he just sounds like he's got a mouthful of ass because, you know, they can't afford proper mics. Another new member, got Megan Satanas. Thank you very much. Are these your guys coming over at TJump?
Could be.
Oh, thank you very much for bringing some new members to me. Alamarge U for $5 says, where is your south pole, Bumpy? Is Sigma Octanus pole goes left to right, different direction and yet the same towards the south? I asked him about that before, and he just says that he doesn't believe that Sigma Octanus exists.
Like the constellation stars?
Yeah. He said he's never seen it, but he lives in Australia.
Like telescopes. Do telescopes exist? Because I think you might be able to find it.
Question for TJump McSmarty Pants. How long into the stream before you realised you were actually just debating a soundboard of a brainlet?
I don't know. I think the conversation started pretty well, like up until like the 30-minute mark where he just went off the rails. Like,
Yeah.
But it went decently at some parts. Like he agreed to the part that there is pressure in a container and that there's a difference of pressure in the container, and then he started to go a little haywire after that. Like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble now. I don't know how to explain this.
What makes the gradient? The container. How? Because it's a container. What? Fogger Pership Akashi, $2. I knew he would strawman Coriolis. Classic Flurf. Yeah, none of them understand what Coriolis is. Coriolis is not the Earth rotating underneath things. It's as simple as that. Coriolis is all about conservation of momentum, and that's how you need to explain it. Just because they heard Nathan Oakley say once that, well, there's no Earth-based Coriolis because nothing rotates underneath an airplane, doesn't mean that that's what Coriolis is. It's a straw man. Tetchler Knight for $2. Triple H's entire argument amounts to prove it, and we did, but he went nutter. 3-1 for $2 says, good job making Bumpy look extra stupid. No, we don't do that. He absolutely did that himself. Indie Tiger for $5 says, I navigated ships in the Navy. All navigation is based on a curve. Earth is globe proven. Yeah, me too. Falcon Pership Akashi, good old CHL classic. Bumpy totally deserved it. Yeah. He deserved being kicked for being an asshole. John Om for $2 says, who is Eratosthenes? And thank you for defending LGBTQ. No worries about LGBTQIA. And Eratosthenes was a philosopher and mathematician from about 2,500 years ago that measured the circumference of the globe by placing sticks in the ground between Alexandria and Sion. I can't remember, but then used the angles of the sticks to calculate the circumference of the Earth, and was about within 3% of what our current measurements say, which was pretty damn good for some sticks in the ground 2,500 years ago, right?
Yeah, it's incredibly impressive.
Yeah. Not a Genius for 549 says, we don't see geometry, we see light. Yeah. Well, it's refracted, so you don't have a horizon. Well, we do. We can see it there. It's refracted. I never understand.
But what you're
how they
seeing
think
isn't the
debunkers-
horizon. It's just what you're seeing. How?
I know.
So it's not the horizon.
I've tried to explain to flat earthers several times that you don't really see anything as and when it is. I mean, even holding your hand in front of your face, right? Not only does the light take time to travel from your hand to your eyes, but there's an atmosphere between your eyes and your hand, which means the light has been refracted. Plus, we're both wearing glasses, so we see everything extra refracted, right? You know?
Yeah, and your brain constructs artificial image of what's actually going on, which doesn't
Exactly.
actually represent reality at all. You can only actually process about that much. Like if you hold your thumb out in front of your face, that's about as much of your environment that you're actually processing at a given time.
Yeah.
So most of what you're seeing is just a figment of your imagination.
And the fact your eyes actually see things upside down, your brain has to turn it the right way up to interpret it and everything. So, no, we don't see things as they are. We see what our brain wants us to see, based on the light that it's receiving.
I had a question for you too. Like,
Yes.
he said that it's if there's a curve, if you're standing on a curved surface, you will necessarily always see the curve. Have you ever made a video where you just like zoom in on a globe to show that the curve actually just starts to level out, to make them to just try and get
quite
them to
often
understand
show
that
the
you-
basketball thing, but then I had someone make this for me, which kind of demonstrates the fact that this is kind of to scale on Earth, and it looks totally flat until you go out past the mountains, and then you get, oh, there's the curve, but it's actually all
Yeah.
the same line. You know, they just don't understand how small we are compared to the Earth.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what we should have.
Yeah.
I should have had that for the debate.
Oh, I'll send it to you so you can have it in the future.
Thanks, appreciate it.
I've got so many things just programmed in because of the amount of times that I've spoken to these idiots. Josh Wiener for Weiner, sorry, I called you Wiener there. I do apologise. Please require a minimum of 4th grade education before bringing them on here. Then I'd have no flat earthers to debate. John On for $2 should have asked him who Eratosthenes is. Facty279 says Triple H claims he's not a flat earther yet uses all their BS. He is a flat earther no matter what he says. Ace for €2 says, are you an ant? Compared to the Earth, we're smaller than an ant. And last one, Philosopher King Gaming for $2 says, can you explain the problem of hard solipsism for us? Yeah, that's all flat earthers have, is that kind of rhetoric that doesn't actually help a conversation. It's just semantics and trying to redefine things and using a rhetoric which doesn't match reality.
Yeah, the problem of hard solipsism is how do we know anything other than that we exist? So, like, how do we know there's an external world? How do we know I'm not a brain in a vat or in the Matrix? Right. So the question is that if he says that, how do we know that the mountains are real? He's essentially claiming to have solved that problem of hard solipsism, while at the same time saying science doesn't solve the problem. So it's really weird.
I'd like to learn a lot more about the philosophy of science, which is something that you deal with very well when I watch your debates. Because I've never really paid attention to that side of things. I've always been more empirical, science-based. But I would like to learn a lot more about the philosophy of science. What would you suggest I read or research?
Yeah, I have a list of like a suggested reading list that I can send to you with the best things. Like, yeah, definitely, I'll send that after. But I think the best ones are Hume's classical works. Those are the ones that most illustrate what it is. Then you can go into more depth with like fallibilism or falsifiability, those kinds of things that lead to the modern scientific method are a good secondary starting point. But Hume is probably the best one. Okay,
cool. I'll do that. Thank you very much. Right, that's all the super chats. Guys, you've been incredibly generous as always. Thank you for all these super chats and the memberships. It means the world. It allows me to do what I do full time, and I can never be thankful enough. I know not everyone's able to support me financially, and if you really want to help the channel, the absolute best way you can do, and this goes for TJump as well, is to share what we do on social media. I don't know about you,
do you mind
TJump,
if I copy this onto my channel?
Yeah, no, absolutely 100%. You may need to trim out the intro that I did because that's got copyrighted music on. But feel free to put it on your channel or make little videos out of it, whatever you like. It's your content as much as it is mine. So thank you for being here. Yeah, so that's about it really. So TJump has his own channel. You can find the links to him in the description. And like I said, if you want to share our stuff on social media, it really, really helps us because I get like 60% of my views from like Facebook and Twitter. What about you, TJump? Do you get a lot of your views out of social media?
No, I get most of it from YouTube shares. I think I get 16% out of social media from Discord and Facebook and Reddit.
Well, it's still quite a lot. And if you share our stuff, even sharing it on your own community pages or with your friends on YouTube, sharing what we do really helps spread the word about what we're doing and helps us grow. TJump, thank you very, very much for taking the time. Any final thoughts?
No, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. Appreciate your channel and debunking flat earthers. Like if you didn't exist, there would be just less entertainment in the world. It would suck.
Thank you. That means a lot. And thank you as well for doing what you do. I very much enjoy watching your debates. Like I said, you can find TJump in the description. You can also see a lot of what he's done on Modern Day Debates with James. Thank you everyone for a great evening. I will see you in the next day or so with part 2 of my level debunk. It's in the editor. I'm just working on it now. But for now, remember that stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat earth. Fight the flat. fight the fly, fight the fly, fight